Ladies and gentlemen, you already know who this is. It's your boy, Mr. Chaos. Welcome back to the Heat Check. Today, I've got, obviously, my broadcast partner, Sal, PR.
How it go?
Today, we got a special guest. So, everybody survived the pandemic together, right? Like, we all got through it as a society, and everybody went through it. But the one thing that the pandemic taught me and blessed me with is friends. It showed me, it kind of forced everybody to reach out of your comfort zone and kind of just be a person, right? So through the pandemic is where I met our guest at. He's a Green Bay Packers fan, which is going to be interesting for this show. He's I know very few people who can talk shit like this man. The same way I can, the same way Sal can. So today, you guys might hear three chickens clucking at each other, back and forth and back and forth. We'll see. But let me bring my boy on. The TW Takes podcast. My boy Bishop. What it do, big dog?
What's up, Mr. Chaos? I tell you, man, you're going to give me an intro like that, make me cry before we start talking about how we've cried together in the past. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I mean, you're dead on, man. The pandemic was hard for everybody, but it was a blessing in disguise for so many other reasons. And meeting you is one of them. You've called me up in your lowest of lows. I've hit you up when I was going through my dirt. At the end of the day, when you can meet people and be real, man, there ain't nothing better than that.
That's beautiful.
I mean, what can you can't get better than that, legitimately. To be essentially forced to be stuck in your house for a little over a year and a half, almost 2 years, and to come out of that with friends is a blessing. So I want to talk about today's episode. We are sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is the clean energy drink. It's not going to give you any jitters, any crash, anything like that. You can go to w.gg/discount/yourheatcheck for 10% discount when you purchase. Again, or you can go to Dubby, search Dubby in Google, pull up the website, and when you check out, type in your heat check. It'll give you the same discount. So let's just jump right into things, right? Like, first off, are you still running Terrible Wrestling Takes?
Yeah, so it's on hiatus, but that's just because of life, you know what I'm saying? But it's still live. So if you search Terrible Wrestling Takes on all audio platforms, it's there. Go to twtakes.podcast.com. They got the live iHeart radio player there, so you can sample the show without downloading it. No big deal. I got some sweet merch. Sweet merch. Look at that. I got orange ones too. I'm just saying.
I'll take one.
But yeah, TW Takes Podcast on Twitter. At the end of the day, it's wrestling. So to bitch about a novel that wasn't good or a movie that wasn't good is the same to bitch about some wrestling that ain't good or is good or you think is good, and I'll tell you that it's not, because at the end of the day, what you need to know is that Bishop was right.
You know what's funny is, dude, more often than not, at the end of the day, look, when Cody lost at WrestleMania, Bishop was the first one to be like, shut the fuck up, let it play out, watch how it goes. And I was like, oh no, WWE made the wrong decision. Bishop was like, shut up, chill, wait. And now they're going to a rubber match with Brock and setting Cody up for the future. So look, if nothing else, learn the phrase, Bishop was right. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
You'll be good.
It ain't just wrestling, and you're going to see that on this show.
I'll work on it.
What did you and I just did something today, social media-wise. You want to tell the people about it?
Well, we've been doing things here and there. Today we got our TikTok up. It's the Heat Check podcast on TikTok. We're going to be showing our clips, random moments, things that we talk about, things that we find. We're going to be posting on there. So go ahead and follow. Again, it's the Heat Check podcast. You don't want to miss out on the clips. They're going to be epic.
Oh yeah. We're just getting started. So once we get established and our foothold in this thing, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. So let's get into this, right? all of us are NFL fans. Obviously, Eagles, Packers, Bears. We all know about the NFL. We all have our fandom of the NFL.
Correct.
What I want to talk about is running backs in football. We're all about the same age. When we were growing up, you had running backs like Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith, and even later, even getting into our 20s, you had Adrian Peterson, and you had these guys that are monster names for teams as running backs, and they were getting big contracts. But if you look now, you can't get Saquon or Josh Jacobs an extension. Tell me how you guys are feeling about the devaluation of running backs in the league.
For me, I'm gonna start with Saquon because he's an anomaly. Like, the man is just built different. You know what I'm saying? Coming off an ACL injury, which is not a light injury. I've torn my ACL before, and it's not the easiest thing to come back as a regular human. Saquon's not a regular human. The man has twin towers as calf legs. Like, it's insane. And for him to come off a major injury like that and come back and have 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, almost 300 touches, and, almost 400 yards, catching off the backfield with around, I think it was like 40, 50 receptions. And you're telling me he's just worth $10 million a year? That's insane to me. And I'm not saying that Daniel Jones didn't have a terrible year or he had this outstanding year, but you paid this man $40 million and you're telling me you can't pay your running back that basically made Daniel Jones look as good as he did for majority of the season. And even with Josh Jacobs, I'm like, that was a terrible team that was playing on. And he still outperformed the majority of the good quarterbacks that were in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you can't find money to pay this man? I'm like, the tag right now for most running backs is between $10 to $12 million a year. You can't find money to pay these guys? I'm not telling them to give them $45-50 million a year, but I'm like, these are elite top 10 running backs, if not top 5. And you can't find money in your organization to pay these people. And then Joe Mixon screws it up for everybody by taking a $4 to $5 million pay cut by restructuring his contract. And it just makes it harder for people like Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, and even Eckler to get a decent bag that they deserve because they performed their butts off last year. And if Saquon doesn't play this year, and even Josh Jacobs, if they hold out, I wouldn't be surprised and I wouldn't be upset at the same time.
Yeah, I think they got to start treating it like monopoly money or some shit. Because, like, when you look at, like, the NBA, the salary cap is structured so crazy. You got people about to make $70 million a year, right? And I get it. It's a different sport, a different brand. But when the league is bringing in so much money, if you don't structure the salary cap appropriately to afford a slot for running backs to be paid, then they're not going to get paid, because then every head coach is going to be like, hey, man, I don't need this position. I don't need that position, right? I mean, the first example I remember is something like this was Jimmy Graham when he held out with the Saints, right? He's a tight end looking to get paid like a wide receiver. The Sean Payton offense eliminated the tight end whatsoever, split him out like crazy. It's like, well, pay me for what I'm doing. It's like, that's why Christian McCaffrey got paid that bread in Carolina, because he was doing both, right? Deebo Samuel was looking for his money because he was doing both. But the value to your team, that's why the quarterback market being so crazy. Saquon's worth $40 million, the same as Daniel Jones is worth $40 million. Like, they're worth the same amount to that team. But because quarterbacks get paid more, there's not the bread that Saquon deserves is bullshit. So that's just salary cap structure. They're not forced to pay him the money, so they don't have to, which is messed up because now it hurts everyone involved. It hurts the Giants for not paying him to be on the team. It hurts Saquon because he can't get paid at all. And imagine if he goes somewhere else. We see it all the time, right? Anytime somebody leaves their team, 99% of the time, they take less somewhere else.
Right.
It's just, it always boils down that way. It's just crazy, man. And if they don't structure the salary cap to afford these slots, this type of money, it'll never happen, right? What they say, the running back position is the only one to have the franchise tag go up and then back down.
Yep.
Like it makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, and none of it makes sense, really. Like these people get paid ridiculous amounts of money based on however they negotiate it. But at the end of the day, you can't find $5 more for Saquon. You know, like it just doesn't make sense, man. It just doesn't make sense.
Even if you did just put him on a 1-year deal, you tell him you can't find $15-20 million to pay him for a 1-year deal. Like the man earned it.
Here's another thing too. Like they were talking about the Deshaun Watson deal. And the reason why he got paid so much in Cleveland is because the owner could cut that check, put it in a bank account. That's what guaranteed money is, right? And not every owner has that check to cut. Okay, so that's an anomaly. All right. But if you have that check you can cut, then why does guaranteed money have to be counted so hard against the cap? If Saquon's looking like what does he want? He wants like $50 million, right? And guaranteed money, so he's set for life, doesn't have to worry about another contract, something like that, right?
Yep.
So give him a check for 50, put that in an account, give him the Bobby Bonilla deal, pay him over 20 years. He gets his bread, and you can still have a team. The fact that they can't do shit like that and make it like monopoly money blows my mind.
Well, the NFL proved that they proved that they can. Look at the Patrick Mahomes deal. That's a 10-year.
What, almost like $60 million a year, almost $50-60 million a year over 10 years.
It's like a 10-year, 500
and that's on the low end. I think it's almost like a $700 million contract with incentives and stuff like that. So it's not like they don't have the ability to stretch the money. They can figure it out.
Well, and even if incentive deals didn't count against the cap, right? Like OBJ, right? He wanted X amount of dollars. So, all right, OBJ, I'll give you $5 million guaranteed. You hit all these markers, you get $20 million. That $20 million doesn't count against that cap. Why not? Why can't you do something like that? Because it should work for rookies too, right? A rookie comes in on a $1 million deal, balls out. Look at Brock Purdy. What do you make? $185 last year?
Yeah.
He should have made fucking $13 million. But he doesn't get that. He's not afforded that money, you know?
Right.
Justin Fields should have got 25% of the Bears cap because he was 25% of the reason people showed up to the stands, if not more than that, you know?
He was 85% of the reason for the offense.
But he doesn't get that check because he's on a rookie deal. And they got to put money. It just doesn't.
And now he has to perform this year just to be able to secure a bag next year.
Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing that happened to Jalen, right? Jalen last year balled out, was undeniably one of the top 3 best quarterbacks, and he wasn't number 3, and he damn sure wasn't number 2 in the league last year, right?
He's never going to let that go.
No. But this is what I'm saying. Like, he had to play on a 1-year prove-it deal, essentially, and now he got his bag. Justin Fields, I agree. You and I, Sal, have talked about this. I think Justin Fields has the Jalen Hurts, Lamar kind of potential in him. The game they played against the Eagles last year, where dude got out of a sack from Hassan Reddick, which nobody does, and then ran up damn near for a touchdown, got pushed out on the 5-yard line. Justin Fields is special. He's a special kind of quarterback. But now the Bears want him to prove it. What gets me, though, is you have a guy like Saquon, like both of you guys are pointing out. If it wasn't for Saquon last year, they don't sniff the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They don't even sniff the playoffs. Because Saquon, in the biggest moments, like Saquon does, shows up and says, you know what? I'll put it on my shoulders. Let's go. Danny Nichols can't do that. That dude cannot show up in big. I mean, he just can't show up in big moments.
This is another reason why I'm upset with the way that the Giants. It's more so Saquon Barkley that I'm upset with as far as how they're treating him. Yes, Josh Jacobs is getting short in the stick, but I feel like the only person that comes to mind for me that had a season after coming back from a major injury like this was Adrian Peterson. When he tore his ACL, and the very next year comes back and balls out.
He had the rushing title that next year, right?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
And I think he got comeback player of the year, and then a couple years later, he got MVP as a running back. And so you're not going to sit here and tell me that somebody that has the talent that he is, that Barkley is, that he's not a key component to your offense, and you're going to tell me you're going to tag him for $10 million and he's just supposed to sign it and suck it up? No, I'm sorry. I'm with him. I'm with all the running backs. You're not going to sit here and tell me that you can run an offense with a mediocre running back. It's not going to happen. You're not going to have the play action pass that you think you're going to have. If you don't have a solid, because even with Pollard, he may not be the name of Barkley right now, right? But we know the talent that Pollard is in Dallas. He holds weight down there. So he is a major component to that Dallas offense. You take Pollard out of that and you keep Ezekiel, they're not as good. You're not scared. You take
Barkley you could argue that Pollard is just as important as Barkley is to each team. Yeah.
If you take those players out of that lineup and you put in just some random veteran that you get off the side of the road, that team isn't as scary. It doesn't matter how many weapons you have on the left and the right of you, whatever tight end you have. If you don't have a backfield that is scary, you're going to get rushed 98% of the times, and you're going to run and you're going to lose because you have nobody protecting you. And we've already seen Daniel Jones, he trips on his own feet outside of air. So, and again, it's not taking that Daniel Jones is a terrible quarterback because there's worse out there. Did he deserve to get an extension? Yes. Did he deserve to get $40 million? I don't think so. I would have paid that man 25, maybe 30 max. But you're not going to sit here and tell me that Barkley doesn't deserve that, him asking for a check, an extension, one that he's earned, a reasonable extension. And you're not going to sit me, he hasn't earned it, because he has. Even being on mediocre teams before Daniel Jones got there, the Giants were trash for the first 3-4 years that he was on there. Trash. And he was still lighting it up.
The best running back in the league.
So being on a trash team and then being a barely playoff team and you still won a game in the playoffs, you can't say that you did that and Barkley wasn't the key factor to those games that they won. It's impossible.
I just don't. What kills me, right, is when the draft was going on, everybody was like, because Bijan was mocked to Philadelphia a bunch of times. We obviously know Atlanta ended up taking him at 8. But people were like, why would you take a running back this high and you can get him you could have got Bijan in the 2nd or the 3rd. And to myself, I'm like, do you not understand what a generational talent is? Like, this isn't, you're not getting a 1 or 2 down back with Bijan. You're getting a 3 down back who can catch, who can put you on your ass. Like, the dude, I just don't understand why people don't see the value in a running back position. I get it. They get the shit kicked out of them all game. A lot of them are injury prone because they're getting 300-pound men or, smashing into their back. So I get it. But to tell me that Saquon Barkley isn't worth at least $20 million a year, maybe the NFL needs to reevaluate the way they look at talent, because it's insane. It's insane. That's like, look, you're telling me right now that there is a backup quarterback who makes more than Saquon that deserves that money more than Saquon does?
Right.
Make the math ain't math in here.
How many wide receiver 2s and 3s that are making more money than Saquon and Jacobs right now?
That's crazy. 3s especially. For some 2s I could get it. But 3s?
You can argue that Jacobs was the reason Adams was able to get those yards with trash quarterbacks all year.
Yeah.
Because Adams balled out. And he had no reason to, because he had nobody throwing him the ball. But why? The threat of Jacobs is there. So you don't want to keep the threat to keep the production in the passing game too.
You can tell me Jimmy G is going to make this, is just going to carry this team without somebody like Jacobs?
Exactly. Right. And especially how he was set up in San Francisco. He was set up with a running game. I was there. Well, I wasn't there, but I watched it on TV. He threw 6 passes in the championship game, and they win because they got a running game. If he doesn't have a running game, Jimmy G ain't that guy. He good looking as shit, but he ain't that guy.
No.
And you're not going to tell me that he's going to be the guy to carry the Raiders to the title by himself without having a running game behind him.
And that's the thing, is you can't do that anymore. Like, you have to have, because look, defenses they're going away from how they were when we were kids, right? When we were kids, you had guys like Brian Urlacher, Ray Lewis, and Clay Matthews, these giant hulking, stalk the middle of the field linebackers. Defenses aren't like that anymore. You have
Yo,
guys.
you left out Mike Mamula.
I don't know who that is.
He was an Eagles linebacker for like 2 days, dog.
Exactly. I don't know who that is. But now you have defenses are getting faster.
Yeah.
You have, guys on the edge are not 350 pounds anymore. They're 250 pounds. And they're coming for your quarterback soul. You have guys like Hassan Reddick who got 16 sacks. Guys like the Bosas who are smaller guys too. They're 240, 235. Even like one of the bigger edge guys is like Roquan Smith. He's not like a ginormous, like hulking.
Even Edmonds is not a big linebacker.
That's what I'm saying.
But he's fast and he's still got power. But they're not Ray Lewis size. They're not Urlacher size. They're not those
exactly
Clay Matthews. They're not big. But that doesn't mean it takes away from the strength or the ability to put you on your ass.
Exactly. But what it does is it adds the element of a linebacker being able to drop back in coverage like a safety.
Yeah.
Or a cornerback. You have linebackers last year. Your new guy, TJ Edwards, right? Our leading tackle, I think he had like 157 solo tackles or something crazy like that, right? He also had a pick, also had a bunch of sacks. Like the dude was all over the field. That's how defenses play now. You're not getting the linebackers who are staying in the box and that's all they can do. So you have to have exactly. You have to have a passing game. You have to have a running game because if a team can negate your running game completely, it's going to cripple the way you can pass. So if you already have a shit running game, it doesn't matter what kind of weapons you have on the outside. If that's all you can do, it's easy to guard because they don't have to worry about a guy cutting them up for 30 yards on a rush. So I think we all agree. I think we all agree pretty much the running back. It's insane how the NFL's fucking with these running backs.
It is. It is.
Yeah. If they can produce, then they got to get paid. And if that means that the salary cap has to get structured a certain way, then let it be. You know what I mean? But the fact that they don't do that, it's crazy. Or, someone like Saquon too, right? He deserves more money for his rookie year, right? Rookie of the year, all them yards, all them touchdowns. So why can't part of this bonus be, hey, let's $4 million. That goes towards his rookie year. That don't count against the cap. But they don't do stuff like that. They got to treat it like monopoly money to make sure everybody can get paid because they all deserve it. And to be dead ass, we all spend as fans way too much money supporting this shit. So let the guys stay there.
I agree that at some point, even with the bonus, the guaranteed part of the deal, like if you're signing a $60 million deal and 40 of that is guaranteed, like
that 40 should
don't let it go against that because that's money that's going to come to me regardless or not. That's my money. That $40 million is mine. How you structure that $20 million is on you. Just make sure that when you structure that into them 5 years, that my $40 million is stacked on top of that as well. And if you decide to release me 3 years into this 5, just make sure them checks still coming. If we got to restructure it like that Bonilla deal where I get $2 million or $1 million every once a year, do whatever you got to do to make it work. But don't hit me or the team for giving me money that you said that I was going to get regardless for signing this deal.
What do they say in the Army? Don't piss on my shoes and tell me it's raining. Like, come on, like at least be honest with me. Like, I know what you can do. We know what the owners can do. I've seen Jerry Jones's fucking 8-story yacht.
Well, we just saw the news today. The Commanders just got sold for $6 billion. Don't tell me y'all don't got no money. We know y'all got money. Like, try again.
That's what I mean, man.
It's funny
money. They gotta act like it.
I forgot about that story, but that is. I'm glad Dan Schneider's out the league because he was a ginormous tool bag. But somebody gave that dude
they have the money.
$1 billion. And him being a giant asshat is only going to get worse when you give an asshat $6 billion.
You know what his fine was?
It was like $60 million, right?
That's like $6 to him.
1%. 1% of that deal. He gets 99% of $6 billion. 1% of the deal was his fine.
He's like, who do I make this check out to?
Right.
Oh, Roger, you want this out personally? I got you, bro.
Right. Where do I
No,
swipe?
Say,
Where do I
let-
swipe?
owners have money. We know that they have money.
Yeah.
I'm like, we've seen like he brought it up in basketball. They're not afraid to go into the luxury tax. It happens
no.
all the time in the NBA. Owners do not give a rat's ass about the luxury tax 90% of the time. So you guys want to win titles, but y'all not acting or paying like y'all want to win titles.
You gotta spend money to make money. That's always
Listen.
been a thing. Next topic. Does DeAndre Hopkins make the Titans a playoff team? Bishop, we'll start with you.
Yeah, because Mike Vrabel makes them a playoff team. They sneak up out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that they're a 13-4 team, but they can win the South. Why couldn't they? You know what I mean? And Vrabel, for some reason, I mean, he's got that dog in him, and his team's got that dog in him. So they're always right there. So I can say, yes, it helps. But, you know, like, yeah, of course, they still got to execute. But they can win that division. I don't see why not.
Yeah. They got it's them, the Colts. Who else in their division?
The Texans and the Jags.
Texans and the Jags. The Jags are going to be a tough out.
They can't beat the Jags. There's no way they beat the Jags.
I don't know.
They got that dog in them, man. Every year.
Somebody has to win the division, right?
They were a 6 seed, and then they make the AFC Championship. They're a 1 seed, then they get knocked out. Like, they got that dog in them. They always show up.
So here's the question when it comes to the Titans. Even with D-Hop, D-Hop is still a threat. We've seen that because, one, if I saw a video, I can't remember the stats. I forgot to pull it up. Last year with the Cardinals, in just 9 games, he had like 700 or 800. I think it was like 900 yards receiving in 9 games. Their leading receiver in Titans last year, I think it had 700 yards as a leading receiver for all 17 games.
Yeah.
So clearly we know he's a threat. And if he could do this with partly with Kyler Murray and then a backup the rest of the season with the Cardinals. My thing is, does Tannehill still have it, or are you going to eventually go to Levis?
I think you're gonna have to go to Levis.
I think the Malik Willis project might not pan out the way that it is. Because if you thought it was, you wouldn't have drafted Will.
Yeah.
There's no correlation that tells me that you still got eggs in the basket with Malik Willis and you're drafting Will Levis. It doesn't add up to me. So
yeah, no, that you it's insanity to me, right? Like, I agree with both of you guys. I think D-Hop significantly improves the Titans offense. Period. We've all seen this dude make catches that nobody on earth should be able to make. In the end zone, one-handed, stretched all the way the fuck back like this, and he yanked it. Yeah. Just
or was it triple?
Ridiculous. Huh?
I think it was triple cover. He had 3 on him, I think.
Triple coverage. But that's what I'm saying. I don't know that he necessarily makes them a playoff team because of how dysfunctional they were last year. But I am a fan of Vrabel as a coach. I think the dude does and says everything you want your head coach to say. He acts the way you want your head coach to act. He gets pissed off when he's supposed to be pissed off, but he praises his guys. So I don't know their new GM at all. So I can't comment on him. But I think here's the problem. They are missing the one piece that you need the most in the NFL, and it's a good quarterback. Tannehill hasn't been good in 5 years, if he ever really was that good, right? Not Malik Willis, but Will Levis could come in and make a difference. But honestly, watching his tape from Kentucky, that guy was fucking dumpster juice too. Like, he's not that good of a quarterback. There's a reason why he went in the 2nd round. Like, I don't know who hyped everybody up that this dude was going to go number 2 overall.
It's his height. It's the height and the build.
And his delts. He's getting his weight up too.
He's got that build, that quarterback look. So, and just like dummy fashion, Mel Kiper and Todd McShay with their idiot selves hyping this man up like he's God's next gift to heaven is like, what are y'all watching? Because I'm pretty sure we're all watching the same crap.
And he is
There's
not good.
no way, like the fact that so many people had this man above to possibly the number one quarterback to get taken off the board. I'm like, are we watching the same tape?
Yeah.
Like how is this man like? Please tell me. I'm not saying that he's probably not going to have a good career because we don't know. We've seen a lot of people get taken late in the second, third round, and even Tom Brady got taken in the sixth round, and this man had 7 rings on his hands.
Yeah.
So clearly, what round you get taken doesn't matter. But it's like you hype this man up to be the quarterback to be taken off the draft, and he drops down to the second round and to the Titans at that. So it's like you still have Tannehill as your starting quarterback, as at least that's what it says on the depth chart right now. But is Tannehill still your future, or are you just because you gave up on Malik Willis, then you drafted another quarterback to next year? So it's like, what are we doing in this quarterback room right now? Y'all look a hot mess right now. You got a rookie, a second year that you've given up on, and then a washed out came back, and now it looks like he's washed back out again in Tannehill. So I'm like, what kind of circus we running here? Again, that's not taken away from Vrabel because he's a very good defensive coach. He knows how to function that defense. He's a very defensive minded, but this offense looks crazy right now.
Yeah,
it looks crazy.
And I think if you run it back to the first topic we talked about with the running backs, this is an opportunity where if Derrick Henry can do his thing,
right,
the chance for Tannehill to be, I don't want to say mistake free, but that Trent Dilfer, that Brad Johnson, that
managing quarterback.
Yeah, that managing quarterback route. That Tom Brady type thing where you just kind of manage the game for 20 years and this, and let the defense carry you. Yeah, if the system just works for you, then by all means, I can see that happening. But I believe they changed old coordinators not too long ago. It was either this year or last year. And yeah, so it is a lot going on there. It's definitely a lot going on there. And with the Jags on the come up, I definitely respect that. And for Lawrence to have that ice water in his veins, Stone Cold style, during that playoff game was just nuts.
4 picks and then come back and win it. Yeah,
and come back. Yeah, I ain't seen that since Russell Wilson.
Like that was
fucking championship game, man. I can't stand it. 5 picks he threw in that game, and we still lost 19 to fucking
5 picks. You
16,
are
man.
almost guaranteed to lose a game if you throw 5 picks.
I know, man. I was watching.
And the fact that
week after my birthday too.
How you not capitalize on all the turnovers?
Yo, it was a crazy game. We ain't gonna talk about it. That was years ago.
Bro.
That was like 9 years ago. Anyway, on the real, I do think there's an opportunity. Like straight up off your question, can they be a playoff team? Yeah, they can be because Vrabel's done it before, and like you said, PR, his players trust him. He's what a coach should be for the players. So I can see it happening. But hey, we never know. I would be more surprised at the Texans or Indianapolis hitting number 2 in that division.
Right.
Just because they're both coming off of new head coaches. They got some explosive players on both sides of the ball on both teams. I mean, like y'all were just talking about. Like that's what the NFL is. It's explosions all over the place. So it could be.
Yeah.
To win 8. We just don't know. We just don't know. So I mean, that's football too. I mean, that's the beauty of it. That's why you got 17 games where you're sitting on the seat of the couch. Like, am I the only one live? Are y'all pausing?
No,
Am I pausing to y'all?
You're
freezing.
I was freezing?
Yeah, just a little bit.
And y'all were freezing on my side.
I think the AFC South, I'm with you. I'm like, the Jags on paper look like the team to take the South. Based off of what happened last year and the momentum they have going into this year. Not much change, but they didn't get worse, in a sense, the Jaguars. With the Tennessee Titans, the Texans, and the Colts, they didn't get worse either. But it's like, again, this whole division, it could go either way. Like it could be real good, and then it could just all burn down in flames.
Yeah,
for any of those teams, like because again, they're getting a new coach that's played there before, so he's already becoming like this player coach type feel like it is in Tennessee, and so Doug is doing whatever he has to do in Jacksonville, making Trevor Lawrence look like he's supposed to be as the number 1 draft pick 3 years ago. So the Colts, I'm not sure what's happening because with AR, I don't know if they're going to start AR first or they're going to let him bench for a couple games. So again, this whole division is it's a lot going on, but it can brew to something very competitive to the point where it's not a clear like, yo, it's going to be Jacksonville because we don't know. This team, all these teams are all over the place, but not in the worst of ways. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you can't get much worse than the Colts were last year, bringing in Jeff Saturday as their head coach. So we'll skate over that topic because God, I could talk about Jeff Saturday for days. Next topic. This one we can spend a little bit more time on because we've all been around long enough to have seen them. Alternate uniforms for not just my team, y'all's teams. I saw the Colts alternate uniforms today. I dig them for the Colts.
It's not the worst ones out there.
Yeah.
Now, the one that I am excited to see, because when I saw it pop out, these are my 2 that I'm ready to see. Because we've already discussed the Kelly Green. We're excited. Everybody and their mom is excited for the Kelly Greens.
Yeah.
The 2 that I saw these last few days, I'm like, oh, snap, it's finally here. One, we can all agree on. The Tampa Bay creamsicle jerseys are coming back. And we are all excited about that beautiful jersey making its presence on Sunday again. And then the one that I just saw recently, I want to say it's from the 80s and the 90s, the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, yes, those blue
ones.
Oh,
yeah, they got the OGs?
Them suckers is coming back. And
nice.
When I saw the clip, it had like this whole old school reveal type deal. It was DK looked great in that thing. Like, that is the most beautiful thing I ever seen in my life.
As soon as they played, I was like, oh, this is Sean Alexander all over again.
Like, it was so nice to see.
Oh, it's even before that. I just seen the picture of Geno Smith. That's before that. This is Matt Hasselbeck before Matt Hasselbeck. This is like
it's like the 90s.
It's like Steve Atwater. Or not Steve Atwater. That's it was Steve Largent. Steve Largent shit.
Like, I think those classics right there, the Seattle classics are those are nice. Those are my 2 outside of the Kelly Green. Those are the 2 that I'm excited to see that they're bringing as far as like classic or alternates. Honorary mention. I think that they need to switch to these full time just because they're just beautiful. The old school Giants. No, that's fine. But the old school Giants, the Giants.
Oh yeah,
held out on the
90s, the 80s.
Listen, I get it. You're an Eagles fan, but those jerseys are clean. That helmet with the Giants spelled out on the side, it's just clean.
Yeah. You talk about the
dark,
the Lawrence
Taylor
the
LT joint, the dark blue with the red and white stripe on the sleeve.
Those are just beautiful. Those should go back to their full-time jerseys.
Yo, that is classic simplicity.
It's
but when you see that jersey, the first name that pops to your head is LT. Like, those jerseys mean that era of Giant football, right? The other one, did you see the Cleveland helmet?
I'm not mad at that uniform. That whole from head to toe, that whole white crisp with the orange and brown little stripe coming down the middle of the helmet. Somebody said I laughed so hard when they said this. They said they stole the jerseys from the 49ers. I'm like, first of all, you don't pay attention because number one, it literally says from the 1946 to 1950 season. The 49ers didn't have that print until the 90s or early 2000s. So if anybody stole anything,
the Niners
it was the Niners that stole it from the Browns. Now, I like that style of print on them with the white and the white helmets because, again, you can't be the Cleveland Browns rocking an orange helmet. Makes no damn sense to me. But I've always had this issue. It's like, you guys get paid millions of dollars to come up with schemes, outfits, names, and this is what y'all bring us with these millions and millions of dollars of concepts that y'all come up with. Because I know y'all be going through concepts that y'all be looking at people, fans, all that stuff, people, and this is what y'all give us. These alternates for the Cleveland Browns,
Yeah.
That was a smart decision.
Yeah. I'm not mad at them either. Let me ask you guys this. Who do you think should wear the Oilers jerseys? Should it be the Titans or should it be the
It
Texans?
has to be Tennessee.
Yeah, you'd have to go Tennessee. It's just their lineage, because when you got goats of your franchise like Steve McNair and Eddie George to wear both, then you kind of got to let it rock with Tennessee. Even given, because the Oiler helmet back in the day was the oil rig. It wasn't even like anything that said Houston on it. So I think you got to rock that way.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so with Houston, the Texans, that was an expansion team. It wasn't like how Cleveland did it back in the day. They just connected it back and just brought the team back. This was literally a brand new team in the same city that had a team before, but it's a brand new team, brand new history. So I'm like, you have to, like you said, the lineage is already attached to Tennessee, because before they even went to the Titans, they were the Oilers still in Tennessee for what, I think like a year, maybe 2 years before they switched the names to the Titans. So I'm like, I feel like
that's a good call.
Loyalty and just respect for, like he said, McNair, Warren Moon, those players that have already donned that
Oiler baby blue.
Like, you have to keep it in Tennessee.
You talk about badass jerseys. Those old school throwback Oilers jerseys with the Warren Moon on the back and man,
straight nut. The Warren Moon joint. That was when throwbacks were becoming hot in 02, 01, 02, 03. Me and my homie, we used to talk about it in the hallways, like, yo, like, let's try to be the ones to get. And we used to come up with all of them. And that was the first one that popped in my head. I'm like, yo, I need that Warren Moon, that baby blue with the one on it. And then even if you flip it to the white, he got the baby blue one on it with the baby blue moon on the back with the red on the back, red on the outline. Sickest jerseys of all time. I love them. I feel bad for my squad because there is no alternate jersey that's gonna look good at all. But that's a testament.
We got.
That's a testament to the Packers franchise and lineage, is that even when they did the flywear jerseys, they were like, nah, son, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep the regular collar on the throat. Yep. We're going to stay straight up with our joints. The only thing that changes is the stripes on the side. When those blue jerseys come out, I'm like, oh, I can't do it.
Do not ever in your life come back out with that blue and yellow jersey again.
Oh, those things
it's rough. It's rough. I got the Rodgers joint. I got the Rodgers joint with the circle, man. I don't even know why I got it. It was, but they always win in the third jersey, so
they're so bad. So if you're Houston, do you just come up with a different alternate jersey? Like,
I think they need a whole redesign altogether, to be honest.
I like the Longhorn on their helmet. I think you could maybe make it a little less Blade Runner and kind of not so futuristic, and you can make the actual Longhorn more realistic.
They should go with a new colorway though, just like the Bucks did. The Bucks I'm with you, PR. Like, I'm down with the creamsicles. As much damage has been done to my squad in those creamsicles, from the Warren Sapp turnovers to the fucking even Josh Freeman beating Aaron Rodgers when he finally got a start. Like, them creamsicles hurt my heart, but it's a beautiful jersey. And the buck on the helmet is just insanity. It's so, like, if the Bucks can go from that to this bronze, whatever, black, red shit that they do now with the digital clock numbers, then the Houston Texans can make over their whole thing. Give those colors back to the New York Giants. Let them rock their 90s jerseys full time with the Giants on the helmet, and let it be that. The Houston Texans need a makeover.
I'm with all of that. Like, I agree. Like, Texans, the problem is, like, what is a Texan, right? Like, we all know me and PR both live in Texas. We know we are Texans. But
just put HEB on the side of it and call it a day.
Might as well. You fucking might as well. And for Bishop, because you're an East Coast guy, it'd be like putting Food Lion on the side of your helmet.
Word.
I just feel like when they created this concept for the Texans, initially it sounded great and it looked cool. But as you look at it, because that was almost 20 years ago.
Dude,
15, 20 years ago.
It
looks like a child made it.
It's early 2000s in the worst way.
And then even when they had, like, when they brought out the red helmet last year, I was like, oh, that looks nice, right? Like, okay, Why can't we just make that the primary helmet and just change up the uniforms to match? You know,
That would be
but
dope.
but it's that logo for me. And then the font of the Texans. I just feel like it's ran its course for the time that they've been up. Now it's time to look a little mean. Like, y'all can come up with something. I'm like, I know y'all can.
You know what the
As
Texans
creative as Houston, the city of Houston is, I'm pretty sure if you put out a competition for some type of redesign, Houston will come up with something.
Oh,
They killed it with basketball. When the Rockets went to that R, it was sick.
So
they can figure it out.
They can figure something out. I know they can.
You know what? The Texans jerseys, I was just thinking about this, remind me of the XFL jerseys from when Vince first started it.
Oh Lord.
That kind of font is what the Texans logo looks like. This is the thing. Like, I'm a big fan of throwback jerseys altogether, right? Like basketball, baseball, football, doesn't matter. I think for me, obviously, setting aside the Kelly Greens, because those have a personal place in my heart. I think one of the jerseys that I think, and this is going to kill my spirit to say, but one of the jerseys that I think needs kind of a resurgence is that throwback Dallas Cowboys jersey.
With the white and the blue?
Yes.
With the star on the shoulder?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a sick jersey.
I dig those.
Yeah.
Those would be, I think, there's something to be said about going back to your lineage and saying, look,
every
we can
now and
still
then
do this shit. Yeah, you don't have to do it all the time. You don't have to completely rebrand like the Washington, whatever they're going to call themselves are.
And they had so much potential and still screwed it up somehow.
Oh, the Commanders. What a fucking Commanders. Anyway, I mean, this is the same franchise that tried to make Jason Taylor a statue and then put a jersey on a wire frame with some shit cleats and some football pants. Like,
but here's the thing: they had Nike with Adidas and Reeboks.
Yes.
Sean Taylor.
Yeah,
you said Jason Taylor. He played there too, but it wasn't his statue. Yeah.
It had Reebok. I think it was a Reebok jersey, Nike pants. I'm like,
and Adidas cleats.
Nobody's paying attention. Yeah. It didn't make any sense to me, but I think
it wasn't even a mannequin. It was just wires.
It was just a wire frame. Like, this is the worst, least impressive amount of effort anybody has ever put into anything.
Yeah,
like,
well, poorly run, man.
Well, Magic Johnson's part of the new owners. Magic Johnson's part of the new owners for Washington, so maybe he'll fix some things in there.
We'll see. All right. So the last thing, we're sitting at about 48 minutes. I'm good to stay as long as you guys are. Hey, Bish,
like I said, you got me till 10, man. I got another 2 hours before I get called to bed, so I'm good on everything, man. We've done it all. But real quick, since let me program the show real quick.
Yeah.
Because y'all talked a lot of basketball last episode, and y'all got so much shit wrong, so we don't have to jump into basketball all together.
Please.
But since we talking throwback jerseys, since we talking throwback jerseys, what basketball jersey to you is just iconic in that way? That just
white,
hits you.
The 90s white Sixers jersey.
That just says Sixers across the top?
Yes, with the star. Oh my God.
I'm gonna pull it down for you because I got it sitting right here.
Hell.
That pinstripe.
Ooh, with the pinstripe.
I'm not mad at that.
That one right there is it's like when they brought the black jerseys back and they didn't have the pinstripes on, I was like, man, that's mid.
Yep.
It's something about a pin, like even with Orlando, the Orlando Blacks, the
pinstripe,
Shaquille O'Neal with the pinstripe.
Yeah.
Something about that black jersey with that white pinstripe with that font that they had going across. I was like, that's a fire jersey.
Yeah,
bro. You can do pinstripes are so simple, but if they're done right, they make the entire aesthetic. Like,
yes.
That, like you said, that Bulls jersey. There's a reason that the Yankees are still in pinstripe jerseys. They're clean. They're simple.
I hate them. I hate the Yankees, but all my life, I hate them.
What's up?
He's a Cubs.
You're welcome for Chapman, dog. Without Chapman, you don't almost lose the World Series. Come on, man.
I hear you. Listen, I got Arietta right here in the middle, in the pinstripe with the white with the pinstripes.
You got him right here too. You got Arietta right here too.
Listen, I the pinstripe jerseys, especially for baseball, because baseball is my go-to thing. That's my guy. But it's the jerseys from like the 90s, right before they got to this basic model of everything has a solid color with black prints.
Yeah.
It just like even like the old AI jersey, the black 76ers.
Oh yeah,
like, with the star that swooped across with the
like
basketball.
That was sick to me.
Bro,
when they got away from that, I'm like, it's cool. It's nice.
You know what jersey that I miss in the NBA is those old school Grant Hill teal Pistons.
Ooh, y'all gonna hate me.
I love those.
Okay.
I hate those jerseys. I think those jerseys are hideous.
I love those things.
I hate it. I hate them.
I fuck with the Mavs though. The Mavs
Warriors jersey.
The old you, when back in the early 2000s,
the J Kidd, Jason Jackson joints.
Yeah.
Jimmy Jackson. The Jimmy Jackson joint.
The
the J.R. Ryder joints. Yeah.
You know
early
what else?
Steve Nash days.
The Baron Davis Warriors jersey.
Oh yeah.
With the Lightning Man on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those 90s jerseys are so iconic because they don't design them like that anymore. It's just different now. Everything has to be so smooth and it has to flow, and it's fuck that. The 90s were like, look, this is my logo. Here you go. Suck it up.
This is how I feel. This is how I feel, especially because Nike is known for making some sick jerseys.
Yeah.
Oregon Ducks to be the perfect example. They have like the most variety type jerseys, of course, because the CEO of Nike is the Oregon alum. So I'm like, the man's gonna give them anything they want. I feel yes. I know you want to have they don't have them. They don't call them home and away now. They call them statement and icon jerseys now. But I'm gonna call them home and away jerseys. You have your staples, your staple home and away jerseys. But I feel like you should be able to be creative with 2 or 3 jerseys as alternates in the NBA to be like, that are outside of the norm. Now, don't get me wrong. I think probably one of the worst jerseys to ever grace the television for NBA was those Dallas Mavericks garbage can looking trash can gray metallic jerseys.
Oh yeah, those things were butt cheeks.
I think they wore them one time. They looked like a flying saucer disco ball running around. It was terrible. But I'm like,
dude, that's why I love jerseys so much, is because it can make or break your entire fan base, the way they interact with your team. Like, I was just, those, you bring up Oregon, their jerseys, man, the black ones with like the speckles on them that they have. Oregon,
like the color fades from the shoulder down.
Yeah,
those joints.
It's like black, but it looks like there's like, if you ever see an egg where it's got those kind of speckly spots on them, Oregon has a jersey where it's black and the spots are like gray, like a silver. Oh my god! Like,
I like their OG yellow and green ones, like from
the Marcus Mariota ones.
But even before that, where it's like the box numbers.
Oh yeah. The Chip Kelly
green helmet with the old school duck on the helmet. Like,
my only problem, especially with the NBA jerseys, is that the way they try to tweak it and everything, they get out of their colors. Like you got a team, you got colors you identify with. Like, stay with your team swag, stay with your team colors. Like, that's why people love the Kelly Green Eagle jersey coming back so much, is because all the Eagles did is they darkened their colors. Even their silver went to a deeper silver. You know what I mean? So when they got like the Bucks. The reason why the Bucks is so trash is they went super hard to new colors where they don't even look like the same team. But when you have that little deviation of who you were to who you are now, like it's so cool to be that way. Again, that's why, like, as a Packers fan and a Yankees fan, like, there is no real deviation you can have with jerseys, and you're limited with like the experience you can have as a fan. That's why, like, my Reggie White jerseys, they got the 75th anniversary patch on them, because that's like the only deviation I could have. You know what I mean? Like, I got the Brett Favre 50th Lambeau patch, because that's like the only deviation I could have.
Yeah.
My Aaron Rodgers, my first joint was from the Super Bowl with the captain patch and the Super Bowl patch because that's the only deviation you can have.
They didn't have the captain patches until they made it to the playoffs. Like that's when they
right, exactly. Yeah, they didn't have them during the season. Yeah, that's the
Right.
crazy part. So like when you're a fan of these teams and you want to jump in, like I'm not gonna get who is it? Damn, I don't even remember now, but like the Knicks did it too, right? When it was St. Patrick's Day and they had an all green jersey. Like you blue and orange for life.
Right.
What are you
Even
doing?
The
Bulls did it. Yeah, they
And I was
all
like,
did it. I'm like, what are you doing?
Stupid. Stop
This
doing
makes
it.
no sense. And then you got so many teams that jump out. When Portland went to the city jerseys, I'm like, what's city? What does that mean? Oh, that's just for local stuff. You're on national TV as well. Like, teach us.
Bro, I'll tell you what, there's only 2 jerseys that I can think of off the top of my head that when they went away from their natural OG team colors, I dug them more. One was the San Antonio Spurs Fiesta jerseys. Those things are insanely sick. And the second one was the Miami Heat, that Miami Knights pink and kind of blue.
Yeah.
The Miami Vice one or
The
Yes.
Miami Vice joint. Yeah. Yeah. It's fun, man. I get it's fun.
It's not like you're gonna wear it all the time, but it gives you something outside of the norm where it gives you a little spice.
And
Now,
it's simple.
And they kept it black too, though. They
Right.
kept it black too,
Right.
which was
It
their
wasn't
main home
crazy.
anyway. So they just did the Miami Vice signage and the coloring, and that's what added to it. So you got to stay within your pocket, though. You can't jump too far out the pocket.
So I got a question for you, since you're a Yankee fan, and I asked this question for a bunch of people when it's not team wise, just jersey wise, because we know that since we all can remember, since the team was incepted, there has been not a single name that's been sewn into the back of any of these jerseys since Jesus was born. When you see a fan walking around with a Jeter on the back of a 2 jersey, does it make you upset as a Yankee fan or not?
All right, so this is a perfect question to ask me now. So my birthday is January 11th, right? So
Okay.
I fuck with so many 11s, right?
Correct.
Brett Gardner was number 11 forever. I got a
Okay.
Brett Gardner number 11 Yankees jersey with no number on the back. If I wear that today, people think I'm repping Anthony Volpe. And I'm not. I'm repping my number for my birthday. I will wear this the rest of my life, no matter who that is on the Yankees.
Right.
My problem as a fan is I can't rep Brett Gardner no more, and that bothers me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, because when people see me, they don't know I'm repping Brett Gardner. You know what I mean?
It's already associated with somebody else.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's now associated with the next man. So, like, again, to your point about the captain's pass with the Packers, you hit the playoffs, cool. There's so many, shouts to the Yankees, World Series patches that go on jerseys. So if you got a 96, with a 46 on the back and a 90 Andy Pettitte jersey, like, but they also retire so many numbers of greats that it kind of is what it is. So I don't mind it that people have it because you want to rep that person. Yeah, but someone like Jeter, like, yeah, you probably shouldn't because there's only 1, 2. But if you got a 13 and you wanted to say Rodriguez, then, like, I respect that because somebody else is going to wear 13. You know what I mean? Like, forever, Paul O'Neill didn't have his number retired. Bernie didn't have his number retired. And only once did anybody wear either one of those numbers because the fans was sick on that. But 24, perfect example. During the World Series runs, Tino Martinez. 25 was Joe Girardi. 25 was Mark Teixeira. 25 is now Gleyber Torres. Like, who are you repping, though? Jason Giambi. Yeah. So, like, who are you repping? And tell me how long you were a fan. So I don't mind it because I respect supporting players. Right. But it is tough. But, I mean, I'm not going to hate on anyone that wants to rep the squad. But I know specifically on the number 11, they are going to keep handing it off until it's retired in the rafters. Mm-hmm. But I got it because it's my birthday, and I respected the hustle of Brett Gardner. How could you not? You know what I mean? So, like, I'm there. I'm there for number 11. Do I fuck with Volpe? Yeah. Do I want it to be great? Yeah. But, like, it's a Brett Gardner jersey. It's not a Volpe jersey. This is a Brett Gardner jersey.
If anybody ever asks you, that's going to be your response. This is Brett Gardner. This ain't for anybody
Shouts
else.
Shouts to Volpe, but this is Brett Gardner. And that's the other thing, too, right? Let's say the Yankees win 3 World Series in the next 3 years, right? It's not going to happen, but let's say it happens. People may go, oh, so you just rocking that? Because it happened with the Packers. Yeah. I've been Packers since 94. You know what I'm saying? Before they won with Brett. people are like, oh, why you rocking Packers stuff? Because they just won a Super Bowl in 2010. I'm like, I've been Packers fan for almost 20 years. Like, you got to get off that. Like, I've been a Packers fan. So, like, to have your fandom questioned because there's no name on the back, that's rough. Oh, you fuck with Brett Gardner? Damn, you've been a fan that long? Yeah, I've been a fan that long. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's that. It's kind of both. Jeter's tough because it's Jeter. You only need number 2. Salute. That's the captain. You know what I mean?
I mean,
I've heard it in a lot of ways. Like, a lot of Yankee fans, they do get upset, genuinely get upset when they see it doesn't matter the number. It could be any number, you know, because clearly if you walk a 99 and it has Judge's name on the back, you're gonna be like, why do you, like, we all know who 99 is. Like, I don't think anybody I know that's worn 99 that's been as important as Aaron Judge for the Yankees. So I'm like, I saw a lot of fans, a lot of videos talking about, you know, when it comes to jerseys like that, you know, because even like one of the Boston Red Sox jerseys, you know, I think it's is it their home or their away?
They're home. They're home. They're home white, and I think it's on Sunday. There's only one specific way that they wear it without the name.
And so, like, when they see those jerseys that traditionally on the field with players, you know, they don't have the name, and then when fans buy the jerseys and they attach the name, if it's not already sewn on to the patch, because I'm like, all my guys have their names on them, but I'm like, because one, these are my jerseys, so you can kiss my ass. I paid for them. So I'm not. Me personally, anybody can come to me and be like, well, why do you have that on there? You know who it is. Did you contribute into paying for this jersey?
Right. Then shut the fuck up.
Back away from me, please, and thank you before we have a problem. Me personally, I don't see an issue with putting a name on a jersey. Me personally, regardless of what the tradition is for the team. Because at the end of the day, you're a fan of the game. How far back that goes, that's between you and Jesus. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah, no. I will tell you this. There's only
I don't have a problem.
There's only one baseball jersey that I want, and it's hard to get. I really want to find, and I don't have a specific player, but I want a Toronto Blue Jays jersey.
That's random.
Or
the 92, 93?
Yes, or just for even more,
you gotta get a
random
card to find if you're gonna do that.
I want to get a Montreal Expos jersey.
Ooh, good luck with that one.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not a baseball guy. So, like, I know who Aaron Judge is, obviously. I damn sure know who Derek Jeter is, and A-Rod and Pudge Rodriguez. There's certain guys that I know, right? But I tell you, the last time I sat down and watched a baseball game,
well, that's terrible.
With Robin in her barracks room.
That was over a decade ago.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Have you ever actually been to an actual baseball game?
I've never been to a Major League Baseball game. I've been to a AAA, the Norfolk.
It's not the same. It's not the same. The first time I went to Wrigley Field, Father's Day, this was in the year we won the World Series, right? I finally paid. I had enough money to
yeah.
It is what it is. And when
we did.
Yeah.
We won that.
We won that motherfucker.
108 years we waited for that thing. I don't want to hear.
Yo, you said that last episode. I waited 108 years. I said, motherfucker, what are you, fucking 134 right now? How old are you?
So when I got to sit in that damn chair, and not only did we win that game that night on Father's Day, like, going to a game, especially when you're going to a home game, there's no greater. I know. I don't want to say it's the same thing as football, because football, baseball is two different things. The atmosphere of the baseball game is just different, bro. And it's like especially because I've been to Rangers game, I've been to Astros game. We've gone, like, a bunch of my guys. We go for the series and everything. But it's something about going to your home team stadium and sitting in that field. And we sat in left field, right by the foul line, right where that raggedy mother cost us. I don't want to say that name.
Yes.
Y'all forgave him. Y'all forgave him, remember?
I didn't forgive him.
PR's like, I didn't forgive shit.
I didn't sign that petition.
No.
But I'm like, I know you're not. Minor league game is cool because the atmosphere is different. Don't get me wrong. It's cool.
I was
But
just
it's
bored
something about
out
that
of my
major
head, dude.
field.
I was
You
just
gotta
so
go to like
bored.
a Sunday night game or a night game. The night because if you're not good with heat, don't go on a Friday or a Friday because you're gonna burn to death. You too pale in complexion.
Hey, we live in Texas. You ain't never lied,
I'll tell you,
bro.
with the pitch clock this year, like I watch 140 to 150 baseball games on TV, and that's before the pitch clock. I love baseball. So PR, we can do this all day, brother. I went to a Yankee game, Yankees Orioles earlier this year on Easter, and the game went way too fast for me. So you might benefit there, Mr. Chaos.
I don't like the pitch clock.
I don't mind it on TV. I don't mind it on TV, but in person, the way I look at the scoreboard, the way I watch the fans, the way I look at the next batter up, all of a sudden, it's 2 strikes. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I didn't even get a chance to watch. So I'm
2 seconds.
But I'm a nerd about baseball, man. I get in there. I'm watching breaking balls, seeing how they hit from one to the next. Like I love baseball, man. It's in my blood, man. I love it so much.
This is how sick it was for me. That next day at work, I had no voice. My wife hates baseball, but she loves me so much that she came over my house every single game. She fell asleep by the second inning, but she stayed there, and I love her to death for that. And then when I started screaming, it was like at 10 o'clock at night. She's like, "What the hell just happened? We won!" I was losing myself. I went to work. On purpose. I'm a supervisor at my job, and on purpose, I wore my Rizzo jersey to the work.
Thank you, by the way.
I was like,
thank you.
Oh, you can't wear that. Who gonna check me? Who gonna take it off me? I like to see somebody try. Because I'm pretty sure if the Eagles would have won the Super Bowl, one, this man would have never stopped talking. And 2, all year long, he'd have been wearing that jersey.
Bro, we won in 2017, and I barely stopped talking about that one. What are you talking about?
That's what y'all do, man. I'm up here in Eagles country, and I got to hear that shit all day long, man. When's the last time y'all won? Motherfucker, y'all won once. Shut the fuck up.
Hold on, wait. Nope. All right, PR.
Y'all a city of coming up short.
Let's do this.
Won a couple of them, but y'all a city of coming up short. Talk about it. City of coming up short. Y'all the honor.
Okay, so look, when's the last time that anybody from Green Bay, anybody from that team was somebody to be terrified about? Because it wasn't last year, because Philly put Aaron Rodgers on his ass. He couldn't finish the game.
This is how old we are.
It happens.
That's it. 1985. We can't do nothing else.
Y'all know,
but it's here though. It's here.
I got y'all. Ready? Oh, there we go.
This is the thing, right? Here's the thing, right? This is when people
baby.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's my favorite.
That's sweet. Yo, I love real quick, since he showed the ring. I love the contract that the team put on the rings. If you go to sell that, the Cubs get first dibs at $1. Did you know that? Fire. Did you see that shit? The Cubs, when they handed out the rings, they handed out with a contract. If you ever sell this, the first point of purchase is the Cubs for $1. Ain't that awesome? So you can't sell that ring for nothing. Nobody that won that is allowed to sell that. If you do, it goes back to the Cubs for $1. Yep. So there's no putting that on eBay when you get fucking 80 years old and got no more money. Yeah. So really. Shouts to the Cubs for doing that. Go ahead, talk your shit. Anyway. Go ahead, talk your shit. The Eagles got fucking 5 wins in a row, and this guy's nutting his brains out.
Hold on, wait.
Not his brains out.
This motherfucker. See, this is why I love this dude.
I live in Eagles country. I got to hear this shit all the time.
He knows how to. Man,
you're not going to say anything revolutionary. I've heard it all the time. Go ahead, brother.
Right. You're right. I'm not. That's all right. That's okay. You guys just became a losing franchise for the next 30 years, so it doesn't matter. Green Bay ain't winning a playoff game till my kids are 40.
Probably not. It's all good, though. I had plenty of success to watch. See, what y'all don't know about, Mr. Chaos, you do PR. What you don't know about me, I'm not a when y'all team's winning, I tell you that you suck because you won. That's why you're good because you won. You know what I mean? Like, I don't hate the Bears, and people hate me because I'm a Yankee fan. People hate me because I'm a Packer fan. And then we talk, and it's like, well, no, if the Red Sox win, it's because they won. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm mad at the Astros for cheating because that legit happened. But like,
they're a piece of shit, yeah.
Like, but other than that, like, the Yankees also didn't win. So I'm more upset about my teams not winning than somebody else's team winning. Like, I hate Eagles fans that be like, yo, them cowgirls, fucking Cowboys suck. Like, well, no, actually they didn't because they beat you. You know what I mean? Like, if they win, they win. Like, it's a dub.
But
I don't care if the Bears, the Bears, fuck the Bears for being 14-2. Or we being 14-2 or 13-3 and 2 losses coming to y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, shouts to Lovie Smith for doing his thing, but like,
we still lost.
At the end of the day, like, I really don't care because dubs are dubs. Like, my team, that's my whole thing. I root for my team. I cheer with my team. If my team doesn't succeed, it's not because like the other teams suck and we just so happen to lose. Nah, my team fucking lost. Yeah, the work needs to happen in-house. Fuck the outside shit. Do the work in-house.
Well, this is the thing, right? Like with me, you saw the last episode. I said it clear, plain as day in front of PR and Myron. I am a delusional Eagles fan.
Delusional.
I will be a delusional Eagles fan. And Bishop, you notice we've had enough conversations. You noticed it. I will be a delusional Eagles fan to the day I die. But here's the thing, right? I will, and again, this is something you both know about me. I will not hesitate to give credit where credit is due, right? I absolutely despise the Cowboys. But I will tell you, their defense is one of the nastiest in the NFC. I will give them their props. I hate the 49ers and how much their players are whining and complaining about, hey, Brad didn't get hurt. Shut the fuck up. He did get hurt. And then your backup got hurt. And then we whooped that ass. I will not take away from somebody, but I will defend mine to the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a dude the other day who was like, oh, Hassan Reddick is overrated. He's trash on the edge and this, that, and the third. And I was like, hold on. You're a Minnesota Vikings fan. When's the last time you had more than one rusher get 10 sacks in a year? Never? Because we just had 4 of them. And Hassan Reddick had 16. The only person in the league with more than him was TJ Watt with 19. Like, I won't take away from people, but I will go down swinging for mine. Like, I love my birds.
The thing that made me mad about last year when it came to the Eagles, and it's not so much that they were winning. It's like people were upset at who they were playing, how they were winning. I was like, listen, at the end of the day, this is the schedule that was given to them. Period. Mm-hmm. They are beating the teams that they're supposed to beat. How they beat them or by how much is irrelevant. A win is a win. Point blank, period. It baffles me that people are out here, well, look how many sorry teams or under 500 teams. Again, they didn't pick their schedule. The schedule was given to them. You can't be mad that they beat the schedule, whether it was the easiest schedule or the hardest schedule. That is not on the Eagles' plate. They got the schedule. All right, this is who we got. Win, 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 loss, win, 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 loss, win, win. It don't matter. At the end of the day, y'all made it to the Super Bowl. Clearly, y'all were the best team in NFC. If a person got injured on the other team, again, that's not my fault that your best player got hurt. That's not on me. My players are healthy. We played to the full capability of our skill set, and we whooped that ass.
Yeah, I don't understand people who – there are even Eagles fans on Twitter, on Facebook and shit where I'm like, shut the fuck up. Just stop talking.
y'all are some
obnoxious. But it's not just Eagles fans now.
Human beings.
It is not Eagles fans
that Bears Mafia come out there like some savages, yo. Y'all won what? 3.5 games last year? Yeah. Yeah.
I hate the Packers. And I hate Aaron Rodgers.
Anytime Aaron Rodgers did one thing, anytime he did one thing a little bit crazy, y'all like, we didn't lose. We didn't win 3 games this year. y'all
That's
suck like a
Jesus.
motherfucker. It's like, yo,
This
shut
is-
the
this
fuck
is
up,
me.
man.
If you're
Y'all
gonna-
have so much work to do before you can talk shit. It's crazy. It's
listen,
crazy.
You will never have to worry about me. I am a diehard Bears fan. So Jesus comes and takes me away from this earth. However, the thing that irritates me the most is, yes, Justin Fields had a wonderful season last year. Passing was mediocre, of course, because the man was running for his life 95% of the game.
And didn't have a wide receiver one.
But he was okay offensively enough, like he was good. My issue is, yes, Aaron Rodgers is gone now. Jordan Love is taking over. My thing is, people are saying, well, look what Trevor Lawrence did last year. Justin Fields is due. Jordan Love is now going to be the worst quarterback in the division. It's like, first of all, Jordan Love hasn't had a full season under his belt. That's just number one.
He has one full game, and that's it.
Number two,
yeah,
we have nothing to stand on after the season we had last year. We can't talk any kind of mess to anybody. We have nothing to stand on. And it's it's one thing to be a diehard fan and you rooting for your team and you being a super fan. But let's just keep it 100. Let's get back down to earth. Let's get down to reality. We went 3-14 last year. We were the worst team in the league last year. We ain't got a pot to piss in. Talking about it's Justin Field is gonna have an MVP season next year. How?
Right. Right. See, this is the reality that I speak in when it comes to my team, right? I go all the way back to the 2005 season, right? And there was or maybe 2006, there was a draft day trade available, and it was Aaron Rodgers for Randy Moss, right? And I said, pull the trigger, because Randy Moss was flailing with Oakland, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the day after that doesn't happen, the fucking Patriots trade for Randy Moss for a 4th-round pick. And I'm like, but if y'all line up Randy Moss, Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Like, let's go ahead. And Ahman Green was still there, so, like, let's ball. Yeah. Oh, no, we don't want to ball. We don't want to ball. And so that's the kind of shit that I ride with. Like, I ride with the missed moves, right? Like trading back instead of taking TJ Watt. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was there to take, and we traded back. So like it's moves like that. Like this year, Jackson Smith and Jigba sitting right there, and we're like, nah, let's take Lucas Van Ness, who's rated out to be a 2nd-round linebacker. You know what I'm saying?
Who never started in college.
You know what I'm saying? So like, let's make all the wrong draft moves, and then say the Bears suck because they beat us, but they win 3 games that year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't do that. I can't be mad at another team because my team consistently makes these dumb fucking mistakes. I deal with it as a Yankees fan.
The receiver in the first round. Is this
Javon Walker? Javon Walker.
It just happened this year, finally.
No. We took Javon Walker like 20 years ago.
So
that's what last time we took a wide receiver in the 1st round. You know what I'm saying? And he left because he wanted to get paid. And that's that. Like, it's just like, I deal with it as a Yankees fan too. Like, all these Yankees losing shit, right? They go after Justin Verlander. He gets traded to the Astros, so they trade for Sonny Gray. Like, you need Justin Verlander. You don't need a pitcher. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to we didn't get him, so consolation prize. Oh, we don't get Garrett Cole, so let's get Lance Lynn. Like, no, that's not how this works. You don't get
you need to still fill that hole.
Like, I want the birthday cake. I don't want the fucking cookies. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love cookies. Cookies are dope. But if it's a birthday, give me a fucking birthday cake. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want a birthday cookie. I want a birthday cake.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I mean, there's so many teams. Like, if you watch, obviously Philly's done that, drafting Jalen Reagor 1 spot before fucking Justin Jefferson.
We traded up 1 spot to get Mitch Trubisky that would have been there in the 3rd spot. San Francisco
would have been there in the 3rd round too.
Yeah, really.
We're not even talk about that.
Yo, me and my homie that's a Bears fan, the first thing we said about Trubisky, he got too many letters in his last name to be a good quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just
clearly that worked out real good for him.
God damn it. I did not see that one coming. That's funny.
I just want to let you
know.
Shouts,
I referenced him a couple times without saying his name. Shouts to at Matthew McNarley on Twitter. He don't really respond to no one. He really got a blocked account for people. That's my homie. He's a Bears fan. We've been homies for 20 years, if not longer. He's a Bears fan. I'm a Packers fan. We met watching football and all that shit. We love football, and we've been to Green Bay together. We went Christmas Day when Rex Grossman lit us up with Bernard Barry, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a beautiful thing, this football thing, and that's where my fandom comes from. Is just rooting in love for my squad, and then giving props when it falls through. You know what I'm saying?
One thing before we move on, Mike, I got somebody on TikTok that want to tell you something, so I'm going to read it for you. You know who this person is. His name is Amato. You know who Amato is, right?
Oh,
remember?
My God.
He says Eagles are trash. Have a nice day. He is a Cowboys fan, by the way.
You can respond to him and tell him.
Oh, he can hear you.
Okay. The next time you guys get to an NFC title game, I'll listen to you talk shit. Until then, Dallas, sit in your crib, let your horrible coach get you mediocre results, and let Jerry and Stephen Jones keep running your fucking franchise into the dirt.
Father God.
Anyways.
I thought you were going to tell him to take his head, put it between his knees, and kiss his ass goodbye.
Yeah, because he's actually one of the Cowboys fans that I like because he's in our fantasy football league.
Shouts. Well, and he actually has a Super Bowl winning head coach. I don't know if you have one of those.
Oh, when's the last time you said 2010?
Don't matter. Hey, it don't matter. He still got one of them rings. He still got one of them rings.
Did he win? Did he win in Dallas? No.
But does his finger shine?
It
does
doesn't
his finger
matter.
shine?
He does.
Is there a star on that ring?
It don't matter.
No, there's not.
Listen,
there was a Green Bay G on that
is.
ring, which is great. Congratulations. I'm happy for you, Mike McCarthy. You know what else? What other fucking horrible coach has a Super Bowl ring that shouldn't have a Super Bowl ring? His name is Matt Patricia.
He has a lot of them.
He didn't do it as a head coach, though.
Doesn't matter. It's still the same trash ass coaches that don't belong having Super Bowl rings.
Head coach.
Mike McCarthy is garbage.
He's got a ring.
He got a ring. It don't matter.
He's got a ring.
Anyway,
Eli Manning's gonna get into the Hall of Fame. He got 2 rings.
Listen, you can call him a garbage all you want. Just make sure you put champion on the front of it.
That's championship trash, motherfucker.
Championship trash. That's fine.
No matter.
Again, I won't look. Again, I won't.
And he didn't cry during the national anthem. You know what I'm saying?
I won't take away. I won't take away from old fat boy diabetes Mike McCarthy. He got his title ring. Congratulations. Aaron Rodgers got a title ring. Congratulations. Fantastic. You'll never see another one with the Jets.
Rodgers should have had at least 3 of them by now.
Yes. And Mike McCarthy will never see another Super Bowl ring with the Cowboys. So I'm not tripping. Congratulations.
Well, he will see another one because he just got to go back to the HQ and they sitting right there for him to see.
That's true. Yeah. He can hold the ones from the 90s.
Y'all might hate me for saying this, but like to me, the whole Aaron Rodgers era, that was a bonus for me. Because I didn't want Mike Holmgren to leave at all. Yeah. I wanted Holmgren to stay. I could have gave a fuck about the rest. If Holmgren stayed, Favre got more rings. But Ted Thompson got an ego. See, this is the thing. Like, I don't hate other teams because my team has made so many dumb fucking decisions. We get rid of Holmgren with no idea what to do, and then we hire Ray Rhodes for 1 season. Why? Because we didn't know what the fuck to do. So you keep Holmgren. Then we get Sherman, who hasn't done a thing since Brett Favre helped him get all these accolades. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then, it's just, I can't stand it, man. That's why, I get it. People say Aaron Rodgers should have had this, should have had that. The team makes so many mistakes at the top because there isn't a Jerry Jones. There isn't a Jeffrey Lurie. There isn't a fucking, Wellington Mara. There isn't a fucking, you know what I mean, guy Pat Bowlen at the top to say, hey, we need to do some shit here.
Maker, yeah.
No, they run a business.
I was gonna ask if you think, do you think if Green Bay was owned by one person or a family instead of the entire city of Green Bay, do you think their franchise heads out better because you get to have that one owner's vision and realize one person's vision as opposed to the entire world.
I'll tell you this much. The last 20 years is not the same if that's the case because Brett Favre would have had a seat at the table. Brett
Yeah.
Favre would have been like, no, you don't take him. You know what I mean? And Aaron Rodgers would have never been drafted. But let's say that happens after Favre, and it is the Aaron Rodgers era. Aaron Rodgers is still in Green Bay, and we draft weapons. We have a Justin Jefferson drafted to us. We trade up to get these value picks, because that was another thing. Like, again, being a Yankees and Packers fan, being a Yankees and Packers fan, you overachieve so much because of the success of the team and the drive to win that you don't get value draft picks. You don't get the option to draft, at number 9 and take somebody dope. And the last time we did that, again, I'll say it again. We draft AJ Hawk, 5th overall, right? The number 1 outside linebacker in the nation. They move him to inside. We bring in Dom Capers to run a 3-4 defense, and we move Aaron Campman, who's led the league in sacks from DM position, to outside linebacker. So when it comes,
did Hawk ever play inside when they moved him, or he was strictly an OLB?
No, he never played inside in college.
That's crazy.
He was defensive player of the year in the Big Ten and never played inside linebacker.
And he was so dominant in Ohio State.
Not only that, check this shit out. In the second round, we draft the nation's number 1 inside linebacker of Abdul Hodge from Iowa. This is why I remember this shit, because it's so fucked. You draft him, you move AJ to inside, you then make Abdul Hodge not get the fucking reps.
So you draft the positions and then put him in the wrong positions.
Because you hire a D coordinator with his system, with his vision. Yeah. And then, look, shouts to Capers. We won a Super Bowl with his defense. Cool. But when you take Aaron Campman, who was a savage as a DN, and you put him at outside linebacker and he can't do coverage, when you have an inside linebacker who did coverage in college on a bigger field, and
then you consider him a bust because they're not panning out the way you put him in.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
because you didn't play him to their full potential.
So this is why I will never hate the Bears for having success, or the Lions for having success, or the Vikings for having success, because my squad does so many dumb fucking things that if you just did the right thing, hey, maybe. Right. So, but
I never
again, maybe we won't have the fucking Aaron Rodgers era, because Brett Favre would have been like, nah, son, I'll be here in fucking September, week 1.
Yeah. I never did ask you for the draft, Bishop. What was going through your head with that first round, dude? Like,
dude, I wanted Jackson Smith and Jigba, or I wanted the one of the 3 O tackles. So
like
I think Paris Johnson was
Torrance.
Yeah. I think Paris Johnson just got drafted before us, or he was available too. I think they were both available at
what pick did you guys pick?
13.
Yeah, because the Cardinals picked him at 12 when they traded.
Okay, so we missed Paris Johnson by 1. So when Jackson Smith was available, I was like, cool. Yo, legit, I did like 150 mock drafts trying to think of how the Aaron Rodgers trade would work out and all this thing, right? Like, I was cool with it because by the time, this is another thing about me. So, like, you'll get this PR. As a supervisor, right?
Right.
The number one thing is, do you want to be here? Because if you're here, you can work, right?
Yep.
So if Aaron don't want to be here, bye. Like, I don't care. Whoever it is that doesn't want to be here, go, because we got shit to do. So if we're going to field a team, you know what I'm saying? So if you're going to go. Cool. We'll get somebody else. It might not be as good, but hey, we'll work on it. And that's so when you have the opportunity to draft help for your quarterback, you do it. And whether it was going to be an O tackle because Bakhtiari's always hurt, or a wide receiver, you do it.
Right.
And to go D end when you don't need a D end, it hurts.
It's frustrating. It's hella frustrating.
And to take a D end, an unproven D end who never started in college, like I think looking at his raw stats and some of the tape and stuff, he's gonna be an okay D end in the league. But dude, if y'all got JSN or if y'all got Osiris Torrance, that instantly upgrades Jordan Love. Instantly. Because like you said, Bakhtiari's a great player when he's healthy.
When he's healthy, he's amazing. He looks awesome when he's amazing. When he's available on the field, he looks awesome. You can't deny that. Great. You know what I mean? But so again, like I go back to the Dalvin Cook draft, right? Like shouts to Aaron Jones. I love him for what he became, right? But we needed a running back. And we take, I think it was Kevin King. And then Dalvin Cook goes the next pick later. And then 2 rounds later, we take Aaron Jones. If you're going to take a running back, why don't you take if you're going to take a running back in the draft, then why don't you take the best fucking running back available? We took 2 wide receivers in this draft. Why don't you take the best fucking wide receiver in the draft? He was right there. And you go, nah, I'm good, son. And then who was it? I think it might have been the Bears that took the Nigerian boy from Northwestern, I think it was.
You talking Uzama?
Who it might have been maybe the Steelers.
I don't think so. I don't think that was us. No, because the only picks we had that were.
Oh no, Uzama's a Kansas State boy. He went to the Chiefs.
I'm looking it up right now. Give me a second.
Y'all took the O tackle from
Tennessee.
I'm told like third, fourth round. He was he might have been from Northwestern. Man, I gotta check the draft results.
Let me see. I'm looking.
Actually, you know,
He's fast.
You guys look that up. Let's take a real quick break. I got to take a piss.
Word.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. All right, we've been talking about football. We've talked a little bit of basketball. We talked way more baseball than I ever need to have a conversation about ever again.
Don't be disrespectful.
Now we're going to get into something that all three of us are equally passionate about in different ways. I want to talk about what's going on in the world of wrestling. We just had a pretty decent sized event for AEW the other day, yesterday, I think. Bish, I know you're not the biggest AEW guy in the world. Did you watch? Did you? Yeah, no shit. Did you watch Blood and Guts at all?
No, I saw some clips on Twitter, and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be, so I didn't. But I thought since we're talking about wrestling, you'd want to play my theme song. Is that not
Which theme song?
You ain't got that queued up?
I don't have nothing queued up. God bless America. Because I don't have my I don't have my thing. I don't have my my Roadcaster right now.
Let me see. Is work? Let me see. Can y'all hear this?
I hear nothing.
Y'all don't hear that?
Can you send it to me on Twitter real quick? You should be able to attach it on Twitter, and I can queue it up that way. But yeah, so we're gonna get into while Bishop is doing that.
Yeah, let me see. Oh, you know what? Check your Google Drive because you sent it to me in Google Drive.
Oh yeah, you know what that might be. All right, y'all talk while I do this.
Do you PR? What do you mess with wrestling?
Right now, I'm mostly just WWE, and every now and then AEW, and then whatever I see, on social media. I'm trying to get into this indie scene. It's hard for me to figure out where to watch it at and how to watch it and stuff like that. I'm with you. AEW isn't grown on me just yet. In a sense, it's not the most terrible television. It has its moments from what I see, every now and then. It still hasn't stuck to me. I've been a WWE guy since I can remember. So I'm like, I grew up watching that, even through its frustration of stupid storytelling and stuff like that. But I'm like, I am what I am. I'm not ashamed of it. I don't give a hell what nobody says.
Yeah, I mean, for me, so like I gave AEW a shot when it first came out, and
right.
The biggest problem is just like you, WWE for so long, there's a formula that you're used to watching, right? So when the deviations from that formula, you're like, well, what am I watching? Then it's upon AEW to teach you who they are, and They just never did that to me. They just never did that. They banked on their history and the fans that remember them from that history without informing the new audience. So like even last night they had Kenny's partner, Kota Ibushi come over, and this is something that they've wanted for so long. As far as the fans go, they wanted it for so long. And of course I know who he is, but if you don't know who he is, they didn't tell you either. So, like, why don't you tell people how amazing this guy is? Why don't you tell people how important he is? But what they do is they keep the secret to pop the fans, but they don't inform the people that don't know. And that's my biggest problem. I said it the other day on my homie show. Shouts to at WOTR the show. My biggest, I had two major moments with AEW that was like, yo, I'm out. Number one, they did Cody and MJF. And they built it as a mentorship. And then in 3 months, less than 3 months, they had MJF turn on Cody without giving us a babyface MJF, which you see now, like it's working, right? You didn't give us some run with MJF to like really invest in his character. Just that, he's just a snot-nosed 24-year-old that turns on the veteran because he thinks he knows more. And he ran with that character for 2 years with major disconnects and really bad content with promo. Number one in confidence when it comes to promo, but the content itself, it's like, dude, this is not that good. So that was number one. Number two is then when Matt Hardy almost died in a match with Sammy Guevara, and they kept going. The referee puts the X up that says, yo, we need to stop this. And then the officials came out and they were like, nah, he's good. And he stumbles the rest of the match. I was like, I was sick to my stomach. Like, that's adult that's been through some shit. Shouts to y'all, not as much as y'all, but like been through some shit to know, like, hey, when there's a chance at safety, like you go safety. You know what I'm saying? Like,
take it serious.
Like you can swim with sharks, or you can go in the cage and swim with sharks. You know what I'm saying? So like when the opportunity for safety exists, you err on the side of safety. So if the referee's like, yo, he's knocked the fuck out, he smashed his head from 20 feet high, let's end this. Nah, let's keep going. Let's have him climb a fucking scaffold to win the match. Those two moments, I was like, yo, you know what? I don't need to invent shit.
Yeah.
Then the big swole thing happened with the racial injustice. I put a whole episode on that. Shouts to twtakes.podcast.com. You can find that episode on all platforms. Like, they just have so many inconsistencies within their character that it's like, you know what? I can't do it. And then the clips come along.
It just never sold to me.
Yeah. So.
Turn it up. You know one more thing.
Get some volume on that, dog. Get some volume on that.
That's as high as it's gonna be.
Better put that mic on there.
I talk that terrible shit. You got work to take. I got no anger for haters. That shit don't even matter. Cause when I finish the show, I'll grab the wine after. So let me get on this mic and make your brain freeze. I'ma do it my way, so what a lame.
Gotta go.
You know I'm careful of faith. So sit back and listen while I finish the
Terrible ticks.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Lyrics and beat by the homie.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chaos.
Yes, sir.
You blessed me with that intro, dog. Ooh, got the chills.
I love that shit, man. That was one of my favorite verses to record. Because
Yo.
I didn't with there's certain verses that anybody who raps or writes music can tell you. There's certain times where you're like, what the fuck am I gonna do? How am I gonna make this make sense? But with yours, and with a couple others, it was especially yours, because I know you so well and we've talked so much. I mean, just away from the podcast shit. It was like, oh, turn it up. As soon as that turn it up came out, I was like, done. I got the entire verse. I think I wrote your verse in like 5 to 7 minutes. I had the beat in a day, wrote your verse in about 5 to 7 minutes, had it recorded in 30, and had it all edited and to you within the next like 45 minutes. That's how easy that verse came together.
That's right.
It's so rare that shit happens, but it's dope when it does, when you're like, oh, it can be this easy? Yeah, maybe I should try that more often.
I appreciate the blessing, homie. That's
Absolutely.
Again, like you just said, like knowing me so well, but we've never met. You know what I mean? A blessing of the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? So like when it's all said and done, like that's what it is. You know what I mean? Like being able to connect with people and understand like their essence. You know what I mean? Like you didn't even know that I fucked with like that early 2000s South hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm an X guy through and through, right? And that's hard body Swiss stuff, like Swiss with the drums and then the high fucking violins that he throws in there. But that when I heard that shit, that reminded me of some like, oh, Master P put a homie on, Nelly put a homie on, T.I. tried to put a homie on, Ludacris tried to do DTP stuff. Like that's what that beat reminded me of. And you didn't even know I fucked with that.
Yo, that's why, like, because I'm such a fan of that shit too. You could ask Sal, man. Like when we're in the army together, we would ride around this motherfucker's car and listen to everything from Neo to, I mean, random ass Neo breakup songs, like to like
I'm an all around kind of guy. You know,
to like Elvis Crespo, to the most gangster rap, DMX, like all the shit that you've ever heard. Because music does something, right? Like if it's good music, it moves you, it can change you, it can turn a shit day into a great day. Like that's why I'm such a fan of music. Huh?
The genre don't matter. It's the music, the words, the everything.
Yeah. I tell you, I used to say this all the time because I'm a cook by soul, a baker by trade. But music and foods, they're the only two things in this world that need to speak to you. Mm-hmm. You can't speak to it. You can't force yourself. You could try, you can open yourself up, but that's what you have to open yourself up for it to speak to you.
Yeah.
Right. You can't just take it and make it yours because it's a part of who you are. That's what music is. That's what food is. But music on another level, it's so synchronous to how your body's wired, man. Like, shouts to you, Chaos. You try to put me on some shit, some stuff I can't. Bro, you fucking damn. Whew. I don't fuck with country music at all. No, because I went through a lot last year. And like my man hit me up and he's like, yo, listen to this song by this dude Dax called Dear Alcohol. This shit changed my life, man.
Dax, it's some fire stuff.
I used to bury my soul in alcohol and think that like I'm a superhero now.
Right.
And I know they say there's no such thing as a healthy relationship with alcohol, but like my Irish Italian, like I can't give it up. But this song centered me so much. Like I've been drinking with y'all on this podcast this whole time, and I don't feel the need to go overboard. I used to do that because I used to think like I needed to be liked. But you interjected that song. That song makes me cry. And then when they did the remixes, the 20-minute version, the 3-minute versions,
Well, that thing was sick.
I will cry after 2 minutes. I will be happy and clap for someone else's story after 10 minutes. I'll cry again after 25 minutes. And just like, because the beat itself, the message, all that shit, like it has this country twang with a rock vibe, with a rock, like you just said, PR, like it's the lyrics, it's the beat. It doesn't matter the genre. The beat brings me in. The song gets me there. The lyrics, the story gets me there. And man, I know we were supposed to talk wrestling, but
I'm good
music too. Like I'm telling you, like, dog, I told you, I had to text you as soon as I heard, like, yo, I just heard Dear Alcohol at the batting cage with my son, and the hair rose on my arms, and I started tearing up. Like, we just walked in the door. He didn't even get a chance to swing the bat yet. And I'm like, nah, man, I'll be back. I got you. Just step in the cage. He's like, Dad, what's wrong? I'm like, this song is special to me. The song is special to me, and it's special because of you, though. It's special because of you. And I appreciate that. I'll never forget that, man.
It was one of those things where, you know, like you said, I knew you and I talked all last year. Like, even to this day, like, we'll randomly text each other and just be like, hey, I love you, bro. Like,
word. Love you too. Hell
and,
yeah.
And then I knew you were going through it, and I heard the song. And I'm not like a huge heavy drinker, like, so it didn't affect me in that way. But music hits my soul when it's a song that makes your entire body feel every note. That's what Dear Alcohol did for me. I was like you are anthropomorphizing this substance that can literally destroy your own life, and you're telling it like, fuck you for what you've done to me. And it's such a powerful message, dude. Like, did you ever hear the verse I spit to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you hear that verse? Hold on. Let me see if it'll play on my mic.
But it like you said.
Can you hear it?
Mr. Chaos.
It's muffled.
I gotta stop acting like it's all okay. Me mugging in the mirror because I hate my face. I was raised like this to behave like this. Watch you take a bottle to the face, no shit. Put a bottle to my lips and mumble it first. Prayers to my brothers that are covered in dirt, man. We put in the work and we deal with the pain. Don't tell me you feel me because we ain't the same. Iraq and Afghanistan fucked up my brain. Liquor and smoking is keeping me sane. My family is helping me walk through the flames. Every step I take forward increases the pain. I set my boots and I set the example of how to get through all the stress you can handle. Me, I'll be here when you're ready to face it. When we sit here together just to get wasted. Yo.
Yeah, man. Like, that song means a whole lot to me. Just because of how insane it was. And then, like you said, they did some of those remixes, man. Oh my God, are better. Some of the verses on them, they're better than Dax's verses. And Dax's
and for him to do that and to make a remix that long, to show everybody's verse instead of just picking one or two to add to a track, he's like, you know what? Let's get all y'all on the track real quick.
And that's what I was gonna say to you, Mike. Like, and I'll call you Mike in this moment because that's what we've done. We've done that for sure. We dropped that shit straight up. Like, I called you, I've texted you. I'm like, yo, this is Matt talking to Mike right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we've done during this pandemic. We got rid of Bishop and Chaos so quick. But I was just gonna say that, like you said, God damn it, I almost had it. I'm not gonna try.
Anthropomorphizing.
There you go. I wanted to put the M before the P, and then I tried to put the P before the M, and it wasn't working. But no, like it's an open letter to alcohol, letting alcohol know that you're not the problem. My problems are the problem. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the beauty of the song. And then when people lay out their problems, where alcohol becomes their crutch, and you like, I've told you, Mike, like, this song literally tells me that I'm not alone. Yep. And like, my relationship with alcohol is okay, because if I address my problems, then my problems are now number one. It's not alcohol that's number one. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, and it's such a tricky thing to say, because I know people have real problems with alcohol, and I know I have a problem with alcohol, but it really took my alcohol dependency down so fucking much, where it was like, yo, you know what? I've been in therapy for 1.5 years. And this song I bring up to my therapist like probably once every 2 months, where it's like, yo, I had to go back and listen to it because it made me realize, like, if I sit back and I think about my problems, they're my problems. Let's talk about my problems. Let's not put them at the bottom of a bottle, you know. And shouts to his remix with Elle King, because she crushed her verse too.
Yeah.
Yo, she went
Oh
hard
my
on that.
God.
And it's so cool to get a cosign from Elle King, who's had chart toppers, opposed to Dax, where it's like, yo, you know what? Yeah, real like celebrities got problems too. And this is real. This is life. So it's a beautiful thing, man. And I appreciate for you putting me on there.
I'm about to put you on another song of Dax's. It's called To Be a Man. And it talks about how men are expected to suck shit up and just drive on. Like the only value that you bring is what you bring into the household is one part of this. So you talk about making you tear up. Woo. Anyways, because I will.
When you gonna cry, PR? Come on, PR, cry. What's up?
I'm an emotional man, but I ain't an emotional man. It all depends on the scenario.
Yeah, you have to get something bad has to happen for him to cry.
This is how crazy it is. So when I got married, Mike was one of my groomsmen. This man cried more at my wedding than I cried at my
No bullshit. And you know what? It's funny, man, because I've known Sal when I first met him in 2008. He was, I'm not speaking out of school, you know, I've known this dude long enough. He was going through his first divorce, right? Like wrong marriage, wrong person, just a real shitty time. And you both know I'm not a super religious person, but I really truly believe God brought me into that point because him and I were supposed to be in each other's lives. Like literally, while we were in the same unit together, there wasn't a weekend where, hell, barely a weekday that we weren't together.
At my house every day almost.
Bro, if we weren't at his house, we were in our friend Robin's barracks room. If we weren't there, we were at Starlight, which we're not going to talk about Starlight. Those days are far behind us. Or we were there. No, oh God.
That sounds like a particular establishment.
It is. It wasn't. It's not a strip club like people might be thinking it is. It was a ginormous 2-story country bar.
Okay.
It was terrible.
In Fort Hood, around the time we were there, it was the only place that was popping. Everybody from Fort Hood was at Starlight. I mean, everybody. And it was usually because you could also still smoke indoors back when we were stationed there. So, but I've known this dude, and to see him get married, and not just to see him get married, but get married to somebody who actually appreciates my boy for who he is instead of what he can do. Like I met Maya the weekend of the wedding. That's the first time I ever met his wife. Instantly fell in love. She's the sweetest person you will ever meet. Ever, 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 ever. Now, don't get it twisted. She's from New Orleans, so she will talk shit with the best of them. With the best of them. But her and her entire family are the best people you could ever, ever, ever hope for. And that's what, and I'm going to get emotional now.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
That's what got me emotional that day, is knowing my boy is finally going to an environment where people are going to appreciate him for who he is. And, you know, I don't think we were not supposed to get this serious on this podcast today, but I don't think us as men tell each other or show each other enough. Like, dude, I'm so happy that you are in a place that you're supposed to be at. I'm so happy you're not with the bullshit anymore. And that's that wedding. And this is how much he meant to me. Dude, I had 2 infected teeth in my jaw. Drove an hour and a half down to Austin, where he's at, with 2 infected teeth. Spent the entire weekend with him with 2 infected teeth. Drove home, and it was like getting punched in the face the entire hour and a half drive. But literally, like, this is how great his wife's family is. I would do anything for his mother-in-law. Like, I've only met this woman one time, but she treated me like I was her nephew. Like it doesn't matter. That's the kind of people that family is. And I mean everybody. Myron, who's on last week, is his wife's brother. Greatest dude in the world. We didn't know each other for 10 minutes. And as soon as the sticks came out and we were playing NBA 2K, here comes the shit. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter that I was a white guy and they're black and PR's Puerto Rican. None of that mattered, right? It was just dudes celebrating their boy and talking shit. And that, you know, that environment meant the world to me. And that's why I got emotional on that day, because it was like, I'm so happy my boy is finally getting what he deserves.
I mean,
it only took me 3 tries.
Hey, me too. What are you talking about?
But I'm here though.
I tell you, it's something that me and you share in common, Mike, is, and we both know each other's, you know, past, and yours is definitely a lot darker than mine, but we had so little successes ourselves growing up that when we see the homies get one up, it affects us so much harder.
Oh yeah.
Because then we see that it's like they have the success that we wish we had our entire lives. But on top of that, we also know it's possible for us too. So that's why like I do it too. Whenever I see somebody get theirs, it gets me every fucking time. I cry way too much, but I also but I embrace it now to where like I enjoy crying. Like it legit makes me happy because I know that's why I'm crying. You know what I'm saying? Like when, again, to your point about the whole man up thing, you know, men are supposed to do this, men are supposed to do that. You're not supposed to show weakness or affection or emotion or what have you. Like, I tell my son I love him 4 times a day, if not more. You know what I mean? Like, and I tell him straight up, cry. It hurts, cry. You feel sad, cry. At the end of that cry is a brand new emotion. And that emotion is now a new you, where you get to be you. You get to do you. You get to now learn from the tears. So I embrace it 100%. It makes me feel good to cry. So like at the end of the day, seeing the homies get a 1-up, like I'll cry happy tears all my life, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's different when you have a different type of bond with, like me and Sal. Literally, we met and we've been inseparable ever since that day. Like, this has been my guy, and it doesn't matter how many times I change my number. It doesn't matter how long we go without seeing or speaking to each other. As soon as we get back in contact, it's like we never fucking left.
Word.
And that's how it. I think, you know, that's how it should be. Now, should it be like that with everybody? Fuck no. There are people you cannot let that close to you. Obviously, we've all learned that lesson, right?
Some of them got your own blood.
Oh yeah. Oh,
listen. It goes back to that saying: some people are in your life for a season, and some people are in your life for a reason.
Exactly. I mean, all right. Enough of the emotionalness. You know what? This is why I dig podcasting, because you can talk about whatever the fuck you want.
And
hey, Mike, I love you, man.
I love you too, big dog. Shit doesn't matter to me. Like I see young kids all the time. Young kids, goddamn, I hate being almost 40.
We're there.
I see these kids all the time that are like, you know, are scared to tell their friends that they love them, and I'm like, dude, you're freaking literally walk down the street and get hit by a bus.
I tell my child, she's a girl, I can care less. I'm like, I know that the boys and the men, we were held to a different standard, but I still tell my daughter, she's 9 years old, listen, if you're angry, talk to me. I'm like, don't be afraid because you feel like you can't talk to me because I'm your father, or go talk to your mama. Call your mama in Virginia. Call whoever you need to call to say whatever it is you got to say. Yep. Don't be afraid to use your words. And I'm like, I'm Puerto Rican, so I can get loud sometimes with her. And it's not like I'm getting loud at her. I'm just getting loud at the conversation. And so I have to reassure her, listen, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just allowing you. I'm letting you know this is how I feel about the situation. If there's something that you disagree with how I'm punishing you, or how I'm disciplining you, or I'm explaining something to you, or if it's your mother, voice it to us. Because how are we as parents supposed to understand you as a child. I don't know what's going through your brain. You don't know what's going through my brain. Let's have a conversation. Do you still have to respect me as an adult? 100,000%. But at the end of the day, you're my child and you're my blood. And so I'm going to make sure that you are in a place where you can feel safe to talk to us. Because as an adult, I want to prepare you to be able to be like, hey, my daddy said I could talk about what I need to talk to. I need you to sit down and listen to me for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, the number one thing we try to tell Junior, you're not alone. Your feelings are real and you're not alone. So what are you feeling? Be honest. If you feel like you can't trust me, you feel like no, because I'm with you. I grew up Italian, so we come with the belt. Like that's A1 is to put hands, right? And my son's scared of me because I fucked up for the first 4 or 5 years. I went too hard, too quick, right? And I've learned from those mistakes. And over these last couple of years, I'm like, why are you crying? And he will say, Dad, I'm scared. Scared of what? I'm scared you're going to hit me. I haven't hit you in 3 years. I haven't spanked you in 3 years. You know what I mean? Like I'm learning to be a dad while he's learning to be a person. Right. Like it's not easy out there. And I'm glad I can admit to however many listeners are on this show that like, yo, I made mistakes. But the best thing you can do is empower your children to speak up, to know that they're not alone, to allow them to have a voice. But like you said, PR, but I am your father. So like I do have the last say. But I don't have to be judge, jury, and executioner. We can have a conversation. At the end of the conversation, I will make a decision. It might be your option. It might be my option. It also might be something we come up together. Right. Because we're learning this together. You know what I mean? All right, so shouts, man. Life, man. Life Absolutely. Wasn't one of the 4 topics, but hey, let's go, brother.
Let's do it. All right. I turned the volume up on this through my computer. Let's see if you can hear it better now.
Turn it up. You know what my bring pain. This bitch stay the fuck like how down his name. You don't like it, well fuck it, you don't have to listen. I'm speaking facts when I talk, I know I'm in the first stage, climbing like I'm first place. I talk that terrible shit, but you got words to take. I got no anger for haters, that shit don't even matter. Cause when I finish the show, I'll grab some wine after. So let me get on this mic and make your brain freeze. I'ma do it my way so all the lanes leave. It's just me, you know I'm careful of fate. So sit back and listen while I spit
terrible takes. Yep.
Let's go.
I ain't gonna hold you. That was clean.
And the wild thing is, it actually summarizes how I get down. It's not even it doesn't even say like all the lames leave is when you come in with a narrative. If you come in for the conversation, we here. Let's go, brother. We can disagree all day long as long as you want to talk. As long as you want to talk. But if you're gonna go, like that whole Eagles Cowboys conversation, if you're gonna try to go, delusional Eagles fan without being like, yo, let's talk here. You know what I'm saying? Like if y'all both 13-4, guess what? You're both 13-4. You know what I'm saying? Like, so exactly. Like it's all about the conversation. At the end of the day, we sipping. You know what I mean?
Exactly. All right. So let's talk about some wrestling stuff.
Let's get it.
I'm really digging right now. What I want to talk about is what do you guys think about if you're WWE, how do you replace the Bloodline storyline? It's the best thing they've had in the past 5, maybe even 10 years, but it's getting ready to wrap up. So what do you do to replace that? Who do you put that responsibility on?
I think they're already doing it.
With who?
The Judgment Day.
I think
I'm like, you may not like it, but tell me somebody that's more hated than Dom right now.
Well, that's true.
Somebody more loved than Rhea.
That's true too.
And then the heat between
Finn and Priest.
Yeah, he's got a point.
I'm like, tell me anything right now. Again, when Judgment Day started, did it work? Absolutely not. Nobody believed that it was going to work. Edge doing it just didn't fit. But now that Edge is out of the picture, that feud is finally moved on with Edge and Finn. It's finally dead and gone. We can dead it now. Now we can focus on this feud that's building up between Finn and Seth. It has history. It has weight to it. It has depth to it. It's got feels. It's got emotion attached to it. And then on the side of that, now Finn has to be looking around the corner because his homie Damian Priest got the contract of all contracts. Now he says he ain't gonna cash in on him, but I don't trust nobody with an automatic contract. I'm like, that gun is loaded and it can be taken and it can shoot it whatever he wants. And now you just put a strap on Dom, even though it's NXT, which is, I think, the most fantastic move for Dom right now. That means he's going to show more face at NXT to develop his skills, develop his mic, develop his in-ring competition around people that can actually build him up. And then you got Rhea. But again, we said this before. Rhea and Dom is Eddie and China built all over again in the modern era. It's happening all over again. The man can't even put the mic to his lip without getting booed out the stadium. Like, that is insane. So the only logical sense to replace the Bloodline, and it's not saying that it's going to be better than the Bloodline, because the things that we've been seeing in the Bloodline, it's a movie. They need to make that into a documentary, like immediately, and just take my money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, there has to be a WWE 24 on it or something. Yo,
yes, sir.
We put the ones up around here, and
like,
we all roaming all day.
The only thing that would make sense, if it's not gonna be the Judgment Day, you might not like it, and that's fine. I'm okay to live on this hill all by myself. I've been here all alone. I'm a Cubs fan. I've been alone for a long time.
Yep.
The only thing that I think would make sense is Street Profits, Bianca Belair, and what we saw with Bobby Lashley, and bringing back to Her Business.
Yeah.
Like, if you turn all of them heel, the pop that would happen between them, because we all remember Bianca Belair was a heel at the beginning of NXT, and she talked a lot of smack.
Let me cut. So there's one serious problem with that. Bianca is on every news outlet that she could give an interview saying she'll never turn heel because she wants to be the female John Cena.
And that's fine. You don't need her.
I agree. I completely agree.
If you turn the Street Profits heel, that would be insane of a pop.
Yeah. But this is what I'm saying. Like, I was on another podcast last night promoting the Heat Check. Shout out to Let's Talk Sports, the network that we're on. I appreciate you guys for having me on. We were talking about it. I wouldn't mind seeing Bianca with them, but like PR said, you don't need them, right? You don't need her necessarily. Keep Bianca, right. Bianca. She's good enough that she doesn't need a mouthpiece. She doesn't need a group. Keep Bianca, Bianca. This is what I would do. If I'm putting the Hurt Business back together, right? You got Bobby Lashley. Everybody knows what he can do. He's a freak of nature, right?
Right.
You got Montez Ford. Everybody sees Montez Ford athletic ability out his ass. Then you got Dawkins. Everybody knows Dawkins can go, but Dawkins plays second fiddle to Montez, right? So this is what I would do. I would bring back, and you guys might think this is dumb, but it's what I would do. Bobby Lashley, I would bring back MVP. I would bring back Omos and have them three. I would also have Montez and Dawkins, but I wouldn't necessarily have them win the tag team titles, right? Okay. And this is what I'm saying. The first night that you have everybody present, right? Out of all those people I just named, Angelo Dawkins is the least likely for you to see in a suit. He's just not that guy, right? Everything he presents is sweats or joggers or this or that, right? So I would have Bobby, Omos, MVP, and Montez all suited and booted. I mean, to the nines. I would have Dawkins in there, dressed nicely, but when I say dressed nicely, I mean like a Coogee sweater, some jeans, some dope boots.
He can be solo for them.
Yo,
Well, this
man gave him the Biggie fit. What are you
Yes.
doing?
Yes. I'm talking about the what do you call it? The beef and broccoli Tims. I'm
With
talking
the
about
Congo hat.
yes. But
The
no,
Samuel
look,
You might as well give him glasses and a cane too. Come on, dog.
Oh, come on.
this is why. This is why, right? Everybody knows what Montez can do. Everybody knows what Omos can do. You damn sure know what Bobby can do. The one
Right.
that people still sleep on is Angelo Dawkins over here
Which
by
I don't know
himself.
why.
I don't either. The dude is insanely skilled. The only reason I don't have him in a suit is because I want Angelo Dawkins to be the silent muscle of the group.
You need
Right?
somebody ready to scrap.
Yo,
That's what you need. Yeah, every faction needs someone ready to scrap. So not everybody can be in suits all the time. I feel you. I feel
And
you.
I'm
Go
fine
ahead.
with that.
and obviously Bobby's gonna be Bobby. You can't miss that dude. He's gonna be the forefront, right? But you have Montez learning under Bobby. So say Montez gets the IC championship and Bobby gets the heavyweight championship, right? I think you could even do it where either Omos or Dawkins is the US champion at the same time. I don't want no tag team champions in the new Hurt Business because we know what the Street Profits can do as a tag team. Let's see what they can do separately without breaking them up. That's
Without
the other
breaking
thing.
up.
You
Yeah.
don't have to
Yeah.
break them up. They can just go and do their thing, and both of them bring something different to the street, to the Hurt Business. And it lets you use every person in the group.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
that's what I would do. Just I would keep Dawkins different enough from everybody else that when people come to talk smack on the Hurt Business, you think it's going to be Bobby or Omos that's going to smack you in the mouth, but it's Angelo Dawkins that comes from around the corner and just puts you on your ass. It's a whole different twist on Dawkins, and it lets Montez shine without taking any shine away from Dawkins.
So
Well, I
my
think-
thing- go ahead.
No, I think you make a good point, but I have a problem with the Street Profits, period, right? Everyone gives them the flowers before the execution. They used to do that with Bianca too, right? The athleticism, the charisma, all that shit. They put too much athleticism and charisma into their work before they tone it down and give you the real, right? Like even that promo when Bobby was pulling up, Dawkins was like, yo, fam, yo, fam, yo, fam, yo. He said it like 7 fucking times before Bobby showed up. And it's like, if you just tone it down, give me the real, and then we grow, like I'm with you. So like you know me, Cass, I don't fantasy book for shit because at the end of the day, you let yourself down, right? Yo, we going to win the Super Bowl. You don't win the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So like, let it play out first and then go from there. But I feel you, like based off of what we saw on TV, it's such a natural progression to go with the Hurt Business, and it makes sense. Like it would work, but you got to get these guys to calm down. Like Montez used to do that shit all the time, right? He would come out and does his dance, all that shit. He gets a tag into the ring, grabs a headlock, and then he tongue flips for 15 seconds. Why? What does that do to tell me that you're a good wrestler? You got the physique.
Yep.
You can do a backflip. You can do a really high frog splash, but you swing your arms around so it ain't on some Eddie level. The shit ain't even close to D-Lo. This ain't no RVD. Like people want to call it the GOAT frog splash, but he gets high, but it don't look good to me. Anyway, I got Street Profits problems if you can't tell. But if you put them in the Hurt Business and you tone them down and you give the mouthpiece to someone else, so they have to stand there and show you like, yo, Montez is fucking jacked. Dawkins ain't no one to fuck with. Okay, cool. Now we are somewhere. I don't mind the Bianca of it too, because you take someone like Bayley who had that Bianca status, right? The leader of the young girls. This is who they're going to gravitate to. If you move Bianca into the heel spot, you now have a space for someone else to have that babyface move to attract the young girls to want to be wrestlers. You know what I mean? But so I respect Bianca for all that stuff too. So it could be up and down. That's my Hurt Business of it all. But when it comes to storyline after Judgment Day, I think honestly you need to clean the slate and hope that like maybe Sammy and KO can stick on SmackDown and build up the tag division. Other than that, I don't see how you replace that space on SmackDown. They did 45 minutes last Friday without wrestling. You ain't doing that with no one else. Not even the Judgment Day, not with the Hurt Business, not with nothing. 45 minutes no wrestling? Like, come on, man. Like they're special. So I don't know how you replace them, but if I could, I would take what you built off the Judgment Day, like Sammy and KO, like when Cody gets his, when he finally gets his. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you take what's built off the bloodline to bring it around, that's what your new SmackDown piece is, in my opinion. But it could be all of it.
Yeah.
I think those are the only two notable factions that make sense to, if you're going to shut down the bloodline within the next 6 months to a year. Those are the only two factions that make sense to plug in as far as a group that can give you that much heat or that much of a storyline that makes sense, you know. And so I think it's still going to be the Judgment Day because it's already been like almost a year.
But they're on Raw.
Right, I get it. I'm like,
but that
draft split is, I think, is about as good as a diaper on an old person. It ain't gonna do shit.
it would take Rhea to drop the title for Judgment Day to make any moves over there, though. You know what I'm saying? Like Priest could do it with the briefcase.
But I'm like it because even right now, Bloodline since the draft, they haven't been on Raw that much, if at all. So it would be okay if, because Raw is already the flagship show. It's already 3 hours long. It already has the aura of like, this is Monday Night Raw. This is it. So it already makes sense that you have the women's world champion here. You have the world heavyweight champion. You have the briefcase. You have a faction that's already over as a heel, well beyond anybody's imagination that they would be at this point in the career of the Judgment Day right now. So the bringing back the Hurt Business, you're gonna have to build that story back up. You're gonna have to, like you said, you're gonna have to find a way to make it make sense, bringing them back, building it back up. While the Judgment Day, it's already here. It has a history already. It has already those intricate little storylines already built into it with Dom and Rhea and Finn and Priest, where they're already placed. So it makes a little bit more sense. But I wouldn't be mad at either one being the next big storyline. I'm gonna miss the Bloodline storyline because this right here has been like, it's been. I don't even know how to describe it because it's just.
It literally has been the best storyline that WWE has done in at least a decade, especially on the main roster. On NXT, when Trips was booking heavy on NXT, you had some stories, bro. But this, the difference with this and almost every other faction in wrestling, right, and it doesn't matter, AEW, New Japan, whatever. The difference is Roman is fantastic. Jay is fantastic. Jimmy is really, really good.
Solo is getting into his groove.
Solo doesn't have to say shit, and he's terrifying.
And when he does,
he looks so much like Umaga. And when he does, like you were about to say, it means the world.
And then you got
on top of that. And on top of that, you also have Stammy, who got super over in the bloodline. And got even more over turning his back on the bloodline, which made Kevin Owens hot and relevant again.
Right.
Which makes the tag team division hot and relevant again. I don't know. Like the bloodline is, for this being 3 years old, it feels like it's fresh. It feels like there's still stuff to do, right? Whereas if you look at like Bullet Club in New Japan and AEW, I hope Bullet Club dies a really quick death. I'm so over it.
You know why it feels fresh, and this is my opinion. This is my opinion on the matter.
Why?
When Bloodline came around, we were in the Thunderdome. It was COVID, so it wasn't, the fans weren't there. So when the fans finally started to make their way into the arenas, now we got to see it in its full form and its full effect, and actually got to witness the crowd actually get hype or upset at whatever the case was coming out. You know, the buildup was now like, okay, it's not just plugged in noise. This is the bloodline, and it's like, holy crap, this is happening in real life.
And I think that's what
we got the back end of it in person. And we all know we're not dumb. We see the end. We see the writing on the wall. How it ends, we like you said, we can fantasize of how the end is gonna be and what we would want it to be. But we don't know what the hell is gonna happen. We all would love to see Jimmy take that strap off of Roman at SummerSlam.
Jay.
But in realistic form, it's probably not gonna happen.
Right.
Like if he loses it, it's probably gonna be at WrestleMania to somebody. Who that is, I don't know, but it just makes. He's already had it a 1,000+ days.
Yeah,
I'm like, he's gonna end up either passing Hulk or going second. I don't see this man holding it past 3,000 days, because if they do, now they're just.
yeah, that's too much.
I can see him making it second or third, depending on how the rest of this year plays out.
The crazy thing is, the IWC gets caught up in the numbers before WWE says anything about it, right? So the projection there is, oh, well, Roman's going to have it for this long. At WrestleMania, they said, oh, you're about to hit 900 days. What do you think? And he was at the press conference. He's like, that was 3 months ago we were talking about that. We're looking 6 months ahead right now on where we're going to be at. So, like, again, the reason why I wish I had more space and time to podcast, what I do is I take what's on TV and we go from there. We don't try to like, oh, well, they should have done this. You know what I'm saying? Because you get caught in that spiral of chasing your tail of what you think should and should not happen and all this shit. I'm with you. What Roman's been able to do is go to Cardiff and get Drew McIntyre to a level where the entire internet is going, yo, Drew should win. Drew should win. Oh, man, why didn't Drew win?
There's a shot that he might take this.
Get to Montreal and hear the reaction for Sammy.
A pop.
It was crazy, right? Get to WrestleMania. You got 70,000 people wanting Cody to win this thing. And it's going to happen with Jay at SummerSlam, and your boy's going to be in the building for that. So I'll let you know what that's all about. I'm going to that. Yeah, taking the squads. We're going squad deep there. He's going to get Jay the same reaction that he got Drew, that he got Sammy, that he got Cody. That's going to happen, because what happened the second Jay lands that super kick? You know what I'm saying? What happened? The crowd went fucking bananas. And that's the kind of thing that we just don't get in wrestling anymore. And so to your original question, how do you replace the bloodline? Like, you just don't. You know what I mean? you can't. And hopefully it's some version of something you can invest in, at least on a weekly basis. Like, you had mentioned about my comments to you about Cody losing at WrestleMania. Like, I was asked again the other day, like, what do I think of Cody? I'm like, I'm digging it. I like his new perspective, because he finally talked shit on Brock and got his ass whooped.
Twice.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, I mean, like,
oh, I get what you're
saying. He talked shit this Monday, and then heard Brock's music, and he got his ass whooped. So, like, that's what you get, because this dumbass, Cody comes out in the middle of Raw and goes, Brock Lesnar's afraid of me. Brock Lesnar was afraid of one person, and that was Cain Velasquez. He's not afraid of anyone else besides Cain. And he might still be afraid of Cain, because Cain will grab that heat and go after someone that fucks with his family. You know what I'm saying? So shouts to Cain. Yeah, shouts to Cain. We've seen it.
Yeah.
And he's willing to die on that hill, and shouts to Cain. So, but no, like, Brock Lesnar fears nobody. So you cannot, I don't stand hypocrisy. Tell the truth when you're in the ring. Brock Lesnar's not afraid of you, Cody. He's just not. So don't say he's afraid of you, because you know what's going to happen? You're going to get your ass whooped in front of your mama.
We all say that his version of Brock is freaking outstanding. Him not having Paul Heyman on the mic and actually him just taking over and doing whatever he wants. I don't know if he's a face Brock, a heel Brock, but country Brock is freaking amazing. And I used to hate Brock Lesnar when he came back when he came back after his little UFC stint. I used to just not stand the man. But since he's come back as country Brock with the beard and this little ponytail he got, I'm like, this Brock is freaking amazing. And I like what they're doing with Cody. With you, like I agree with you 100%. Like they're allowing this man to have a few little sparkles here and there, but then it boom blows up. Like it's working, and again, it might lead up to him taking the belt from Roman. We don't know. Because again, he might lose the strap at SummerSlam. He might not. Nobody freaking knows. But it's like the bloodline is the hottest thing going on. The one thing that made me mad, and this is the last thing I say about the bloodline. I saw this yesterday. Vince Russo's.
Don't even bring that up. Fuck that guy. Oh my god!
But I didn't hear it, so tell me.
Tell him.
So he was on an interview with what's his name? I think it was Chris or something like that.
Chris Van Vliet.
Oh, yes. That fucking guy.
That guy. And he asked him his opinions on the bloodline, and he said that, of course, the bloodline is going to look like that because the bar's been so low for so long that it's going to look like this top-notch thing that's ever happened. I'm like, are we watching the same fucking thing?
Well, this is as soon as he said that, this is the first thing that came to my head. You ruined WCW. Your opinion doesn't mean shit to me.
Like,
fuck out of here.
He was in a cage match in a fucking Giants uniform. Like, what are we talking about?
Like, I was like, does anybody take his opinion seriously?
I can't. Every time he look, this dude goes around saying how good of a story writer he was, and this, that, and no, motherfucker. I've watched every documentary and everything from that era in the wrestling.
Right.
Everybody from WCW and WWF from that time says it was Vince McMahon. If it wasn't for Vince McMahon, Vince Russo would look like he looked in WCW. And we saw it. You look like shit. You booked the Millionaires Club versus the New Blood. You booked David Arquette to win the World Heavyweight Championship. You booked Vampiro in a barbecue sauce on a pole match.
Or when he made Double J lay on his back so Hulk Hogan could win the title back. Like, come on.
Yeah, dude, your wrestling
you don't
opinion.
Get nothing to stand on. Your opinion is stupid.
He said he wrote Austin 316. He said that. And then Austin goes, I don't know. He might have been around when we were talking about somebody queued me up. I forgot who he said queued him up that Jake Roberts mentioned the Bible. And he goes,
Michael P.S. Hayes.
Yeah, he was. So he's like, all right, well, maybe I'll riff on that. He's like, Russo might have been around when I said maybe I'll riff on that. We might have went back and forth, but nobody wrote that shit. I did that out there on the microphone because I didn't know what I was going to say. I just knew the John 316. So I said, fuck it, Austin 316. Like the revisionist history that he has because the door wasn't wide open back then is crazy, man. Fuck Vince Russo.
Yeah.
Dude, as soon as you said that, like I thought about the Becky Bianca thing that happened at SummerSlam 2 years ago, the 26 seconds. As soon as that happened, I was live on Twitter watching it, and I go, it's the best thing that ever happened to Bianca. I said that when it happened. I'm also a major Becky Lynch fan. It was the 1 year anniversary of my show, and I was going to go to Vegas for the show, and I was like, nah, I can't do that. So I did a 1 year anniversary show live on Twitter, and I said, oh my God, this is the best thing that happened to Bianca. Why? Because the same thing happened to Cody at WrestleMania this year. That adversity, you get smacked in the fucking mouth when the fans love you the most. Now the fans get to watch you earn that shit back. Bianca's rise to getting that title, and then the following SummerSlam, they run it back. Bianca wins, and then they team together when Bayley comes out with Damage Control.
Yep.
Bang! Bianca's been solidified. She's been solidified for a year.
Yeah,
and they still be just dogging her though.
And that doesn't happen without 26 seconds. So that story came in the middle of the bloodline. So what low bar the fuck is he talking about? And by the way, what fucking great storyline even existed in the Attitude Era? There were no great storylines. There were awesome fucking characters. There were awesome. There was the Ministry of Darkness got fucking ruined when it was Vince.
Bro, that made me so upset. It made no daggone sense. Why is this man removing this cape on him? Nobody wanted to.
Oh, and then hey, let's bring the corporation in with the ministry. Now we have the corporate ministry. The storyline sucked. The characters and the performers were fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Name one good storyline from the Attitude Era. Name one good storyline.
There was good factions, like you said, good characters.
Exactly. But what was the faction wars, right? Nation of Domination versus
Yeah.
Los Boricuas and the Disciples of Apocalypse, right? Oh, we got these, right? There was a shit fucking story, but it was dope because we had a mob rules match and shit, but no, or gang rules. Like there was no stories in the Attitude Era. There was just pomp and circumstance and tits and fucking awesome characters, but there was no good storylines.
I think the best
Austin McMahon, maybe, but
the best storyline to come out of that era, and it's the middle to late part of that era, is the Triple H and Stephanie storyline. That's the best part of that. That's the best part of that era, and it was so close to like 2002, where there was no more Attitude Era, that it doesn't really matter.
And it's literally the storyline that killed Test and the storyline that killed China. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Both of their
and it started with roofies. It started with roofies.
Yeah. Dude, there's so much shit that happened in the Attitude. Oh, breaking news. Per Bleacher Report, there is a great chance Josh Harris could change the team name as a way to erase Dan Snyder's legacy.
Oh, sick of plums.
I saw that coming a mile away.
Yeah, there's no way you go back to next season being the Commanders, right?
I'm like, I think they got, isn't there like a time period you got to wait before you can do something like that?
Yeah, I think they got to give this season to happen, and then they can do it next season.
They can do it next year, okay. But
I believe
it makes sense. The only thing I would keep from the old Washington era, if I was him, is the color scheme. That's it.
Color scheme's fire.
That's it. And I'm not even a burgundy fan, but the burgundy with that gold that they have it hits on point. Yep. Let's see. We got SummerSlam coming up. AEW's doing some shit. Impact is doing some shit.
Did you watch Blood and Guts? You asked me if I watched it. You knew the answer was no.
No. I watched pieces of it, and the only reason I was gonna watch it, right? But
I was gonna watch it.
I'm so sick of all this, like, you don't have to bleed and be gory in every fucking match. It's too much. Like, I don't watch deathmatch wrestling for a reason. I don't want to see it on the mainstream channels. Like, that's not what I'm here for.
Right.
I get it. It has its place. I'm not a fan of hardcore matches. I think tables, like the Lights Out match with Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa a couple years ago, perfect. They were bloody. Awesome. There was thumbtacks. Really, it was great.
But it made sense, though.
Exactly. This Blood and Guts match, you're sticking skewers in your head. Like, Kota Ibushi is voluntarily taking a flat back bump in thumbtacks just so he can see what it feels like. It's gratuitous, dumbass bullshit violence for no reason. Like, I love wrestling because it helps me suspend my disbelief, and it's something I can get lost in. But if it doesn't make sense at all, if you're just bleeding to bleed, go fuck yourself. I don't need that.
It doesn't make sense.
None at all. I think the best thing. I think the best thing that AEW has right now is their working relationship with New Japan. The problem with that working relationship with New Japan is that they're only using guys who are like 45 or 50 years old. Like, you can't bring Ishii in and expect him to go a 15-minute match. The dude is 48, and he's wrestled the Japanese strong style his entire career since he was 18. That's 30 years of legit getting your ass whipped 4 or 5 times a week. You can't bring him in for something like this. So right. I think AEW's got some stuff. Not enough for me to be like a hardcore AEW fan, just because, like, okay.
Tony Khan tries too hard.
Dude, this shit with Jack Perry and Hook is fucking retarded. It's dumb. It's
how do you have a belt that's not sanctioned by AEW, but yet it's still on the AEW championship list?
Exactly.
Make it make sense.
Exactly.
Either you're gonna sanction it or just don't show it on air.
It doesn't, like, when it was the Team Taz belt, I got it. Team Taz FTW. Cool. I'm with it. Team Taz isn't a thing anymore. I get that Hook is Taz's son and you have that kind of emotional connection.
That's cute.
But if that FTW championship doesn't get you to the TBS or TBS, the TNT or the heavyweight title or the at least that Atlantic title, what the fuck is the purpose of it? It's just a fucking waist decoration. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And the other thing that AEW does really poorly that WWE is doing a lot better now is women. AEW fucking hates women's wrestling. I swear to God it does. Outside of like Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter.
I'm glad they got rid of that itty bitty little kids belt though.
Oh my God. Yeah, the little fucking, it looks like a Jack Pacific from the 1990s toy belt.
Dog, I'll tell you this. You mentioned Britt Baker, but
where is she?
Here's the thing. They fell in love with her, and it seems like they let her do her own thing. Like Paige is one of the reasons why I got back into wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But this Saraya thing, what are you doing? It's as if Tony gives certain people enough room to hang themselves. It's like, hey, you got 12 minutes tonight. This is what we're gonna do. But where's the coordination? Why isn't Saraya versus Britt Baker one of the biggest things we could ever see? And when it happened, it's like, oh, that's what you gave us. And by the way, another reason I was all out on AEW, pun intended.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Fuck them. I'm all out because again, Paige is a reason. She is a reason why I got back. Paige and Roman Reigns. I saw them on Raw and I go, holy shit. I haven't seen a woman wrestle like that ever. Roman Reigns looks like somebody straight out of the Attitude Era. Let me see what's up with these two. So I followed them. I was like, cool, I'm down. No matter how much people hated on Roman. I've been Roman since day one. Shouts.
Right.
When Saraya first had her match in AEW and she did that first back bump and pretended paralysis and then shook it off, I said, I'm out. I'm done. Yep. You have fans who fucking care about you and you're going to pretend like you're hurt? We legit care whether or not you're healthy. Oh, you don't care that I care that you're healthy? Bye. See ya. I got other shit to do. I'm clicking off. So like when you give them the opportunity to do things, there needs to be a buffer that goes, hey, Saraya, not a good idea. You have people that care about you. Let's keep them here. But they don't.
That's the thing is Tony Khan had to eventually, as of this week, he put out a memo saying there is no more. You cannot do the seizure spot where you're faking pretend to have a seizure on the mat, and you can't do the faking paralysis spot because it's just there's a line you go to, and you can even cross the line a little bit, but it would be like Roman Reigns going through a match and then passing out, and the first thing that goes in your mind, if he just randomly passes out, oh shit, his cancer's back,
right?
Something's wrong. But then he just magically any emotion, any care, anything that I gave you when you were sick instantly doesn't mean anything now because you're taking advantage of it.
Right.
So I think, and the other thing that Tony Khan is discovering is just because they got over in WWE doesn't mean they actually know how to get over. Saraya is not a good wrestler. She's not. Like you broke your neck. You should have stayed retired. Period. I didn't agree when Edge came back. I didn't agree when Daniel Bryan came back. Now, the difference between those two and Saraya is they're actually decent performers. Where Saraya, she hasn't been the same. Like, Edge,
I'll tell you this. Real quick, I don't think she has the right dancing partners in AEW. They don't have the chops. They don't have the chops that WWE wrestlers do.
Last time Soho did anything, Ruby did anything at AEW that was good enough to say that she's at the caliber of Tony Storm and Saraya.
And Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa and Shida.
At least, even though Saraya hasn't won a title in AEW, she's won titles in WWE.
She got cachet. Yeah.
Tony Storm. She won the title in NXT UK, and then she's a two-time AEW champion here in AEW. Ruby has always been like a few steps before actually being a relevant winner because she's never made it the whole way through. So it's just like Saraya and Tony make sense putting them together. They're champions. They're proven winners in a sense. If you put the resumes next to each other, what has Ruby done?
Right.
And it's not to take away from her talent, but you're wanting to push this trio like they're this big bad NWO type field type thing, and it's like
they're not
who
at all.
are you scaring?
Yeah, that's the other thing is like, I love Ruby Soho. I think she's a badass. I dig her look. I like the way she wrestles. But it again goes to the point of there's no chemistry there.
Right.
And that's because there's no women's matches. If you had a chance to, if you gave Britt Baker and Ruby Soho a chance to cook, like you gave them a 10-minute match, and then the next week they don't touch, but then the next week there's a confrontation. If you give them a chance to build and not only build the story, but build their chemistry, they could have easily a banger, a match of the year candidate.
Yeah.
The problem is you're not giving them chance to cook. Like you want you want this instant pizza that's ready, but you don't want to cook it. Like you have to put it in the oven, then you can cut it, then you can serve it.
Where's the house shows? That's where you do that. That's where you cook, is on the house shows, right?
That's
like
where you get those fans.
WrestleMania 10, right? Razor Shawn ladder match.
Mm-hmm.
They house showed that for like 3 months beforehand, trying to get it perfect.
Dude, it was longer than that. It was almost 2 years they workshopped that.
You know what I'm saying? So like they were working, they were working on that match to make sure that when it was on TV, it was TV ready. And they don't get that. And you can't, and me and PR were talking about this when you dip real quick. AEW doesn't inform you on how great these people are. You're left up to the imagination of what you see when it comes out. So if you're telling me that Saraya is dope, oh my God, Saraya is dope, and this is the Saraya we're getting, the Toni Storm we're getting, the Ruby Soho we're getting, Ruby Soho's vignette before she came was fucking incredible. Mm-hmm. Right, incredible. And of course, I'm a Riot guy. I'm a Riot squad. I'm in there. Let's go.
Yeah.
And she's faltered and faltered and faltered because she doesn't have that time to cook with these people. You got Dark and Elevation and whatever the fuck now, and you're doing these lesser characters you don't want to put on TV, yet you got ring time, you got ring space. Where are we working this shit out? How are we getting chemistry?
Yeah, you have 4 shows. That's not including any house shows that you want to do.
If
you ever do, you have 4 shows.
What's the point of having 4 shows and it's you're still giving us the same product? Nothing's improving, nothing's changing, nothing's bringing new eyes to the TV or bringing tickets to get to the seats to these stadiums. Like what? Because I'm like, didn't at one point they had Dark or something, AEW Dark or something like that, like where they had those dark matches that you're not going to see. Yeah. Those are the times, the opportunities where you bump the kinks up and figure out what's going to work, what's not going to work, so that way when you do go on Wednesday or you go on Friday or you now Saturday Collision, whatever it is that you're doing, where you're on primetime TV, that those kinks don't. Because how many botched moves have we seen on live TV from AEW?
Yep.
It's ridiculous. On live TV is not the time where you have the botched moves. Those live shows, the dark matches, or if you're like Raw and SmackDown do it all the time. After they go off the air, they go for 30, 45 minutes and do some dark matches that you don't see online. You have main event that's not televised. You have certain shows that you do, like the live shows, the house shows that you do off camera, so you could work out all the kinks, see what's going to work, and see how the crowd reacts to certain. But AEW doesn't do that. They feel like they have to be competing with all the shows on every night. And it's like, bro, you've only been around 5 years. WWE's been around for 40, 50 years. You're not on their level. So quit trying to. Yes, you're a billionaire. Congratulations.
Dog,
but you don't have the knowledge to compete with WWE.
I have a whole nother episode, man. I got a whole nother episode that says $1 billion versus $1 billion infrastructure. Tony Khan can throw money at whatever the fuck he wants, but he doesn't have $1 billion business. If he sold WWE or if he sold AEW right now, they're not getting $9 billion.
No.
Vince McMahon Vince McMahon just got $9 billion for WWE. Why? Because his infrastructure is worth that. Tony
And
Khan
he
can take
has- he
$9
has a
billion.
problem.
Tony Khan could take $9 billion and not create WWE.
That's
Vince
the thing,
McMahon took
everybody-
$10 million and built WWE to $9 billion. It's
He
an
has a proven
infrastructure
product.
that gets you there.
That's what trips
It's-
me out, I think, is everybody, all the AEW hardcore stands, right? What gets me is they're all like, oh, well, the cons have more money and blah, blah, blah. Yes, but here's the problem. If I took Tony Khan out of AEW and took Triple H out of WWE and switched them, AEW now becomes the #1 show. Because
But you don't
Triple
even have
H,
to do that. You
But
can
this
just
is
see
what I'm saying.
NXT. NXT is a proven product. You have a bunch of non-big names, but are big names in the indies, whether it was New Japan, Impact, it doesn't matter.
wherever. Yeah.
Wherever they came from. NXT is technically, in theory, a developmental stage, right? It's not Raw, it's not SmackDown, none of that stuff. But yet, how is it that NXT can outperform AEW when AEW has main roster level talent? You got Moxley, you got all these people that are main roster people, but you got NXT that's getting more heat, more pop, more views than AEW. And NXT is not technically, in theory, up to par to SmackDown and Raw, as far as name-wise.
Yeah.
But we all can tell, especially that one year where they had Survivor Series for all three, when Triple H had NXT versus SmackDown versus Raw on Survivor Series, that pay-per-view killed.
Mm-hmm.
Period. AEW doesn't have like you said, you have all the money in the world, but yet Vince McMahon has been building this from the ground up for years, decades. So when it's not a shock that he sold it for as much as he sold it for. He has 50 years worth of work that tells you,
Right.
what do you mean it's not worth $9 billion? Look what I got you.
Right.
It's a public traded company that is been around for 40, 50 years. When it just used to be a territory. It just was a territory. Just a territory. And now it's all over the world. They just had Money in the Bank in freaking London. I can't hear you, Mike. I think your battery died.
He don't need to talk anyway. Is this his show? Yeah, that's always been my issue. Like
Can
you
you
can
hear me
throw
now?
money. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got you. We got you.
All
We
right.
got you.
So
Yeah,
look,
you can
this is
have
the
as much
thing.
money as you need, but if you don't perform with that bread, then you just have a failing business. So, I mean, we'll see what happens when the TV deals are up, but I can't imagine that they get much more than they already got.
Well, and that's
Right.
the other thing too, is like with Tony Khan doesn't know how to book because Tony Khan's never been a booker. He was
Nah,
a
man,
fan.
Booker of the Year. Ask Dave Meltzer.
Yeah. Fuck that, no.
Everybody knows all of it. He got all the goods.
So, but this is the thing, right? When you put a guy in with no checks and balances who was a fan,
Yeah.
he's gonna book like a fucking fan, right? Vince, you could tell Vince is a fan of the business, and obviously Hunter's a fan of the business, right? But the difference is they can separate what they enjoy from the business and say, okay, this is what I need to do as a boss. Let me put the boss hat
How to
on.
write stories, though.
Say again?
Vince knows how to put stories together. Granted, lately he hasn't been that great at it, but in his heyday, in his prime time days, Vince was putting out storylines. He was building characters. He was doing it right. Like he wasn't just trying to shove things down your throat like Tony Khan is. I'm like,
well, that's the other thing is there's no hierarchy, right? Like when AEW first started, I was excited because I was like, sweet. I loved TNA back in the day. I thought it was fantastic, right? So I'm not a giant fan of the Young Bucks, but I was like, okay, this is something different. It's going to
I
be
hate
the more
the Young
indie stuff. Huh?
I hate the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
They get on my nerve.
You and I have had this discussion, and me and Bishop have had this discussion too. I'm not a fan of the Bucks, but I was like, all right, this is going to be something different. And then Cody came on. I am a fan of Cody. I've been a fan of Cody since he was with Hardcore Holly. So I was like, all right, let's see what Cody does. And then they brought Jericho, I was like, okay, that's a solid veteran pickup. Behind the scenes, Jericho knows what WCW went through and lost. He knows what WWE went through and won that war. He's been there. He's also been to Japan and Germany and Mexico. So you have 30, 40 years of experience. Fantastic. Awesome. And then you did nothing else. You brought Billy Gunn in to be a producer. Cool. I'm with that. I love Billy Gunn.
Now he's in the ring.
But you're almost 60 years old. It
Right.
might be time for you to put the steroids needle down and go back to allegedly, so we don't get sued. And go back to being a producer, right? You have AEW has one of the best tag teams in the world in the FTR. They have
Even the Acclaimed is good.
exactly. They have the Acclaimed, right? Like they have Cesaro and Moxley. I'm not really a Yuta fan because I think he's fucking scummy. But you have this roster that could be bangers. You don't let them grow. There's no goals for anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I get you don't want to do scripted promos, and I get you want people to get over. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody is Moxley or Jericho and can just take the stick and just be magic. You know how I know? Because I've heard fucking Brian Cage talk.
Yeah.
I've heard fucking Willie Hobbs talk.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are trash.
And
They're
what's like take someone like the Usos, right? Just Jey Uso himself, right? Over the last 4 years, from the time AEW started till right now, right? How has Jey Uso grown? Has anyone in AEW made that kind of leap? Or can you watch the first episode of Dynamite and the last episode of Dynamite and go, oh, okay, cool. When was this one? Oh, wait, that was 4 years ago? That's kind of fucked up. There's no progression. Everyone just does what they do. Like you said, there's no growth. There's no growth in storyline.
Yeah.
What MJF is doing right now with Adam Cole, I see the clips on Twitter. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like a lot of crowd engagement. But where's the growth here? People wanted Adam Cole to be on top 2 years ago when he showed up. People wanted MJF on top 2 years ago when he stepped away to do that bullshit with Tony Khan. Maybe that was a year ago when he had that shit at the media scrum where he just dipped.
Mark.
Yeah, like, but this is the babyface MJF we should have got 4 years ago with Cody.
Yeah.
And then we could have got a mature MJF through the babyface and then a good heel. But like you said, there's no investment. There's no storyline. There's no shit that really like drives these people home. It's tough, man. There's no real growth.
And it doesn't feel important. None of it feels like it matters. Like, again,
a lot of it's fun. Let me real quick, and this is the last I'll say on AEW. A lot of it's fun. I get the fun part of it, but fun without purpose. Like if somebody invites you to a birthday party every single week, by like week 12, you're like, I'm kind of tired of cake. I can only go to so many bouncy houses. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's the same fun stuff all over and over again, it's just not important.
Yeah, and I think too. Look, I wish. Paul, did you ever watch Sal? My bad. Did you ever watch Lucha Underground?
Not a lot. I tried to, but it just
you
wasn't.
watched Lucha Underground, right?
Some of it, but even the cinematic style, it's not for me because it reminds me a lot of like Power Rangers back in the day, or there was this other show that kind of led into cinematic, and then there was like an MMA fight at the end. I don't remember what it was called, but like it's shit like that. Yeah, it just doesn't. So cinematic doesn't really vibe for me.
For me, I loved Lucha Underground for a couple of reasons. The matches were live. You were there watching a live actual match. And it was more, there was still hard hitting, there was still hardcore, but there was a lot of lucha in it, right? But with that cinematic element, like I would tell you guys, go back and watch season 1, season 2 of Lucha Underground, and you'll see what I'm talking about. That cinematic element, having wrestlers just wrestle a match and not knowing shit about what's going on in storyline wise made it more compelling, right? All they know is their storyline.
Right.
They don't know anything else. The audience isn't seeing the vignettes that we're seeing. The audience isn't seeing the backstage interviews that we're seeing. They don't get anything that the home audience gets. if AEW, and I'm not saying you convert completely to that, but if you do something that makes you different from WWE in a positive way, that's how Impact survived for so long. The six-sided ring, AJ Styles, you had guys like that making that unique. AEW is a carbon copy 3,000 times removed from the original. They want to be WWE so bad, but they don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the people with the wrestling knowledge. They don't have any of that you need. All right, guys, we are sitting at 2 hours and 55 minutes. We went Joe Rogan territory on this one. So we're going to, yeah, really. I'm going to end up, we're going to wrap this up real quick. Bish, plug your stuff, all your socials, website, plug everything, let everybody know where they can find you at.
Hell yeah. At TW Takes Podcast on Twitter, twtakes.podcast.com. Check me out. There's a iHeartRadio player on the main page of the website just to sample the last couple 4 shows if you want. Download me if you feel. I got a back catalog of like 150 episodes, 160 episodes. I'm around, man. Check me on Twitter at TW Takes Podcast. I pop up on a lot of other people's shows because it's easier to carve out time for the homies than it is for myself. So, Mr. Chaos, Mike, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for inviting me on. PR, new homie for sure. Much love and appreciation for having me on your guys' show.
Always, man. It was fun.
Yeah, it's me and Sal can talk literally sports and wrestling forever. And me and Bishop can do the same thing. So that's why it made sense to bring Bishop into this relationship and into this podcast, because we are three dudes cut from the same cloth, right? Like we all like different shit, but we all are passionate about our shit.
Right.
PR, you got anything you want to say before we end up wrapping it up?
Bishop, you was right. It was nice to meet you. I have many Packer friends, you know, and you are now added to this group, this short list of friends that are Packer friends. I may not like the people, but you know, every now and then you meet a few good apples out of the rotten bunch. But no, it was fun to meet you, man. It was good talking with you, man. This was a good show. It was fun. It flowed real good. It was real dope. And I hope we get to have you again soon.
Oh, yeah,
It'd be my pleasure.
This definitely won't be the only time that Bishop is on the show. You guys, Sal, you know this. Bish, you know, you've been on my show enough to know that at the end of the show, I like to open it up and just say, like, look, if you're struggling with your mental health, if you are thinking of a permanent solution for a temporary problem, please talk to somebody. Hit me up, hit up Bishop, hit up PR, hit up somebody, talk to somebody. As somebody who's been through that, as somebody who's tried to commit suicide 7 times, and I will repeat that until the day I'm dead, I've tried to kill myself 7 times, right? And I've made it through every single time for a reason. If you need to talk to somebody who knows exactly what you're going through, all of my DMs are open. Yep. PR's DMs are open. You can hit us on the TikTok. You can hit us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We've got all of it. Just look up the Heat Check Podcast. And I know Bish is cut from the same cloth.
Let's get it. I'm there.
It's so important that people understand how serious this mental health thing is. And I just want everybody to know you have somebody to talk to, even if you think you don't. I promise you I'm here. I may not be available all the time, but if you hit me, I will hit you back. Trust me. Both of these guys can attest to that. So please take care of yourself. Be safe. Know that we at the Heat Check Podcast and Terrible Wrestling Takes Podcast, we love you. We appreciate the support. You guys, you know, it means the world to us, a little independent podcast. So until next week, we'll see you guys later.